Okay, ready to go. Uh, yes, there we go. Okay, cool. Ooh. Oh, God. All right. I hope everyone is ready for things and stuff to talk about because I certainly am, to the best of my ability, ready for these things and stuff. Oh, goodness. Hello, Timothy. How are you? Good to see you. I don't know where the other two are, actually. Um, but we'll give them a little bit, right? As per usual, we'll give them a little bit. We'll also I'll leave that. Excuse me. I have a little bit of coffee here, some cold brew coffee. So I'm gonna have plenty of stimulant in my system. Good, how are you? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Better than I was last week. For sure, which is great. I apologize as well for not having the show last week. Um, Work is a chore, and it drains you mentally. It's just one of those things that you just gotta kind of deal with, and so I do. And sometimes it's a little much. You know, I haven't had like a proper vacation uh for a good while, so. But that's, neither here nor there. Don't worry. Did the walk help? Yes. Though I will say, it was a very short walk because it was still hot as hell. Um, During that time, it was really bad that whole like first like that whole week. Um, and then it got a little bit worse later on this week, but it wasn't nearly as stressful at work, so the heat didn't do too bad for me. Um but yeah, it I just hope we don't have another heat wave like that um anytime soon around here, cuz that would be unfortunate. Though I did come up with an idea for a project for myself um for my backyard. So that's pretty cool. I've got some plans in the works for me. So yeah, it's gonna be a whole thing. Hello,
Hello.
how you doing?
Good. Can you hear this?
I can. What the hell is that?
So this is the first time I've ever seen this. You see, like the mute, camera
Yeah.
unavailable, share your screen, the little speaker there. If you mouse over that,
Oh,
fucking noises.
like that?
Yeah, I heard a
Okay.
quack.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's fucking
Oh,
weird.
so I can just turn this off. Oh, cool. I will.
Nice.
Yeah. If you
That's
go if,
I
if you go to the right in that little menu, that little volume thing, you can just turn it
turn
all
it
the way
off.
down.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Neat. Okay.
Yeah, I have never seen that before. You know what we ought to do? We ought to fucking wait until Aiden gets here. Don't tell him anything, and then like spam the air horn.
I feel like he'll know what it is though.
That's true.
Hello, Draco Kraken. Uh, and Timothy says hi, Boo.
Hello.
Well, there's the chat for you.
Uh-huh.
Um, Heat waves are weird. It is true. Um, yeah, I never asked you actually, my friend. Did the heat wave hit you guys real hard as well?
It absolutely did.
Yeah.
It was like 97 feels like 107 a couple
Dude,
days ago.
yeah.
It was real bad.
We didn't get to the 90. Well, I think we got really close to 90s, but it felt like 104.
Yeah,
And
it was awful.
it was the worst. It was so bad.
Yeah. Things have it's pissed off now, thankfully.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Table Talk Discussion and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Great95.
And I'm actually going to say my name for once. I'm Prince Boo 21, and I'm going to be kind of a little bit distracted, probably. I'm not playing a game.
That's fine.
But I want to try to do a little bit of writing.
Oh,
if
hell
I
yeah.
can.
Okay, fair enough. It's murder in the Midwest. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I bet it was or is still probably. I don't know. The country turned into Arizona. No, because that would be a dry heat.
Yeah,
and it was very humid. Here.
Was it humid for you?
Yeah,
Ooh.
Virginia was real fucking humid. So
we got lucky. We were really dry.
Oh, lucky as hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's why it felt so bad for us. Because even though we didn't get high enough for it to be like the worst, the humidity definitely killed it. But then, thunderstorms and stuff have been happening lately, so it's been reasonable. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing all right.
We had to wait for the storms to come by to finally blow the heat away, and now we're not really expecting anything higher than like mid 80s, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are going to be talking about cliches as well as running cities today. The first video that we have on the docket here is a video from WebDM, actually. Long ago, they were doing a bunch of informative videos. They just did these kind of discussions and stuff. We covered a couple of their videos before. I don't actually know if they do anything anymore. Which is unfortunate because they're pretty, from what I remember, they're pretty cool. Hey there. Let's see. That was 4 years ago. 3 years ago is their latest video, so yeah. They have not done anything for quite a while, and it's unfortunate. This, I think, is like a 7-year-old video.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, and it's talking about, turning cliches, as you can see. Turn cliches into adventuring gold in 5e Dungeons and Dragons, WebDM. And I figured it's one of those types that's like, oh, okay. So these are all a bunch of random cliches that you've seen in media and books and all of that. I guess books are also media. But you've seen a bunch of cliches in many a different thing. And we can always spin them. And it's always nice to kind of spin things to make them your own or make them a little bit new or just to utilize them anyway. Because nothing wrong with having a cliche. Right? I mean, they are standard for a reason. People recognize them, and it's something that can really lend a lot to the creative process because it's like, I can just turn this into something because it's something that I've seen before and people will recognize. And yeah, sure, they'll recognize it and, maybe not be super wowed, but it's reliable.
Yeah.
Trope or cliche, there is a difference. We're talking about cliches this time. Tropes, of course, are another very similar thing, but also totally fine to use, right? We've talked about them before in the past as well. But yeah, this is specifically cliches. So, we'll see what they have for examples and what they have for spins, I assume. So, let's fucking go.
And so, as your knight plunges his gleaming longsword between the wings of the terrifying red dragon, thus saving the princess, the orc army goes scattering back to their dark lord. And you've once again saved Kingdomonia from a powerful threat.
Kingdomonia?
Today on WebDM, we're talking about cliches in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So we're gonna adventure in a dungeon and fight a dragon
Yeah.
and not be cliche about it.
Yes, we're talking about those things in Dungeons and Dragons that have crept in over the years, those meeting in taverns and the orc invasion and all those things that veteran players will roll their eyes at, snooze, boring, done this a million times.
Yeah.
What
I guess it's just one of those things where it really depends on the person, right? Because most of the time from the veterans that I've talked to / played with in the past, they're just happy to play.
Yeah.
You know, like it's never really anything about like, oh, we've seen this thing a million times before, right?
Yeah.
The only time,
And even if I was that veteran who had seen that thing play out a million times, I think I would still be excited because I'm like, okay, they're going down well-trodden path. How are they going to make this different?
Sure.
That's my immediate thought.
Sure, yeah.
Because everybody knows that that's a cliche.
Yeah, exactly.
And so usually if you use something that's a cliche, you kind of have an intent behind it.
Yeah, even if they don't change it up too much for me, I'm more excited on how like my character is going to handle the situation, how I'm going to interact with the situation in whatever way, right? It's just one of those things that it's the scenario is laden with possibility because of the characters inside of it, rather than the scenario itself being something that I've seen before. Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, if they have a cool twist or whatever, that's cool too. But I'm just happy to fucking be there gaming, you know? We fucking ball, dude. That's all.
Yes.
Hard agree on the just happy to play. Players often add the spice to the well-trodden chicken. Yes. Exactly.
Walking on chicken.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fucking slippery, dude.
Well,
Careful.
Yeah.
what we can do to freshen those things up and maybe identify some of those cliches for the newer people who are, coming into role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons. Their first year, they want to, avoid some pitfalls or something. So I like a good cliche because it's classic.
Well, I mean, cliches are only cliches because there's something that people like that get told so many times that you just already know the story before you're like, oh, it's that one, huh?
Right.
But we've been doing that with stories for thousands of years,
Exactly.
right?
There's a couple things going on. Number one, they're cliches because they're done poorly. And they take the easiest route to portray something or present a challenge or a scenario or something. It's either done poorly, it's done haphazardly, and this can be forgiven, right?
Yeah.
So I immediately am just like, well, cliche doesn't necessarily mean that, right?
Well, I think what he means by that is when you do the orc invasion, if you do it poorly, it will be considered a cliche.
Yes, that's true.
Not that it is inherently bad.
Right. I guess it's just one of those things that we have to be careful when utilizing the word because it is given that negative connotation a lot of the time, right? Just like how trope is sometimes given that negative connotation, because it's like, yeah, I mean, sure, you utilize it in a negative way when people do it poorly, absolutely. But just because of that, it's just like one of those things where it might de-incentivize the use of something to somebody else because they're like, oh, that's a cliche, right?
Yes.
Which is not what you want to do.
Yeah, that's a cliche. I want to be original.
Exactly.
Instead of looking at it and saying, that's a cliche. How can I change that?
Exactly.
How can I make this unique?
Exactly. Right. How someone uses a thing you see all the time is what matters. Yes, exactly. Execution rather than the idea.
Very few dungeon masters are professional storytellers, myth makers, linguists.
True.
All these kinds of things. None of us
actors.
Improv actors. Like all of these things are kind of the job of the DM.
Yeah.
But we've got day jobs. We've got other things going on.
True.
Dungeons and Dragons is not our life as much as it really is kind of our lives. We can forgive the dungeon masters of the world in the 40 plus years that Dungeons and Dragons has been around for developing cliches that get used a whole lot because they're convenient and easy.
Yeah.
That's probably why you want to use them. They are classic. They became cliches for a reason. They were popular, or they evoked some kind of emotional response from people. They liked them.
Because, everybody pretty much makes the the orphan origin, parents were killed.
yes.
And
Right.
I just blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Right?
It's one that we've gone over many a time, being your rogue who has lost their parents.
Yes.
So they're the edgy loner and all that kind of shit,
Yep,
right?
grew up on the streets, had
Yep.
to steal and like go against the law to survive. It's
Yes,
that.
exactly. Which again, not a bad idea. To
But
start with.
Start with it and then use that as a base point
Yes.
to a starting point to work from.
Yeah.
Don't just stop with that.
Right. Yeah. It's a springboard, right?
Yeah, that's
Um,
it. That's it.
And so it's just like, oh, okay. Well, you can make him be edgy, quote unquote, and like, but not necessarily a loner, because especially, well, to a degree, it's like usually, at least for that kind of thing, if I want to be that kind of character, I want to at least have a connection to somebody in the party. Because then you at least have that one in where that person, if they're like, yeah, all right, let's do this, your character then goes, okay, my friend wants to do this, right?
Yeah.
And so you can at least you can stop the no, I just don't want to go. I don't feel like this is gonna be good for us, actually.
Yeah, we have to fucking kill that guy,
Yeah.
not this one.
Actually, I think I'm gonna go out on my own.
Yeah.
Like all that kind of stuff. Like, again,
Yeah. I wasn't even trying.
I wasn't even using 10% of my power.
Yeah. I'm just better than all of you. Why? Because I'm an orphan.
That's right.
Just because I was like starving as I grew up.
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean your muscles are like really weak because you grew up malnourished?
No.
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 Hell, no.
No, I had to steal all my food so I was well fed because I had to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rogue talking to another rogue.
Right, yeah.
Oh my god, same.
Whoa. Whoa, I hate you.
Yeah. I hate myself too.
Yeah, whoa.
The fuck? We should start a band.
Exactly.
Although, I guess in this case, it would be like starting a wandering bard troupe.
Yeah. Who also steals whenever we go into town.
Yeah.
We just use that bard thing as a cover.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
use
not
my
a bad
music to
idea.
Yeah, I use my music to put people to sleep, and then you go around the crowd and just lift shit.
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
That's pretty good.
That's actually really good. Holy shit, you can have that for free.
And these voices.
Yeah, they have to talk like
just
this.
Just be careful if Sega contacts you.
Be careful if Keanu contacts you himself.
Oh,
Basically,
he would love it.
He would love it. He would love it.
Yeah, he would love it. He's super chill.
Yeah, he is.
It's great.
Edgy loner here. Hey, Chara.
Hello.
You mean the farm boy whose home gets attacked by the evil empire is not original? I know. Vegeta, I'm just better than all of you. Yep, that's right.
Yep.
That's absolutely true. Even Vegeta,
Prince of all
though,
Saiyans.
you know? Even Vegeta.
Yeah.
He goes like, oh, well, actually, I kind of do need your help, though. And I'm not going to admit that. It's just because you're here.
Yeah. God, I fucking hate eating these sensu beans, but God, I love not being injured.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So yeah, use those kinds of things as springboards. That's where we're going with it.
Yes.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Rogue Adventure. Holy shit. Yes.
Yeah, dude. That'd be great.
Their names are Bill and Ted now. Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, Brittany. Okay.
I can't tell you how many of my characters do that, but sometimes, why not start the adventure with full family? And you got to support them, and you're a family man. Let's run through a couple of cliches and go through different ways to subvert them.
Here's the one I'm thinking of, and maybe you're thinking of something similar.
Yeah,
Starting in a tavern.
in a tavern,
Beginning your campaign in a tavern.
just having drinks.
Having drinks, sitting around, yucking it up. Maybe you're gambling. Maybe there's some carousing going on, a fist fight.
And then somebody bursts in.
Somebody bursts in.
There's a call.
The quest giver shows up.
Right.
It's actually quite interesting because Expedition to Castle Ravenloft literally says, hey, you can start like this. in a tavern.
Mhm.
Everybody's sitting down, and then a message gets to all of them and all of that kind of
Yep.
stuff. Like somebody stumbles in and says, "Whoa!" Like,
It's literally that.
it
Yeah,
is.
it's great.
It is, and it's not a bad idea. And
Yeah,
the whole
it works.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
it does exactly. The whole start in a tavern thing is perfect.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways, and it's why a lot of people use it. But it's just one of those things that you don't. I mean, the ways to get it to be more unique, I guess.
Mm.
I guess I would. I don't know, right? Like, because it doesn't need to be anything more than that. I feel.
Yeah.
I
think a better way to do it would be to change the situation. If you want to start in a tavern, change the situation. Instead of everybody like sitting there just
Yes.
chatting,
Okay.
how about you start the campaign in a tavern in the middle of a bar fight,
Sure.
and then your characters are just in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Just they're immediately in combat.
Yeah,
and they maybe they don't know why, but if punches are fucking flying.
Yeah,
And then maybe who knows, maybe what happened was your characters are in the bar and you guys somehow forgot to pay your tab, or
Sure.
like the pervy member like grabbed a barmaid
Sure.
and you're getting thrown out, and that's how the that's how the fight starts.
Hell, you could even make it so there's an NPC that was with you guys. Like, make an NPC with the party that does the thing that initiates the fight, so it's not on them.
Mm-hmm.
So that
And then-
they have their agency still, you know?
Yeah. And then maybe when they get thrown out, like maybe in the middle of the fight, one of them dropped their wallet and they're like, well, shit, that was a lot of our money. Let's go look for a job.
Sure, yeah.
And then that's how they wind up going to that's how they get the mission.
Yeah.
Or it could be like, still do the whole bar fight thing. They still get thrown out. And then after they get thrown out, the cloaked stranger that was sitting in the hall in the corner begging for someone to approach and ask him what his deal is. He's like, hey, I saw you guys. You handled yourselves pretty well. Would you like a job?
Sure, yeah. That's a thing as well. Getting thrown out into a different kind of scenario as well, of like outside, you're thrown out of the bar, but outside there's a crowd gathering that's starting to listen to somebody who's like standing on a improvised stage and trying to like warn people of something, or trying to get people to join him for something, like anything, like make it so that they just get thrust into something that's different. They might not engage with it, but it's there, it's to give the world a little more flavor as well, even if they don't engage with it, like.
And I think if that is like your main plot hook, I think that an easy way to avoid the pitfall of them not engaging with it, have it be something that can come to them.
Yeah. Or make it like tied to one of them or something, right? Like, oh, they're talking about something that like has happened to them in the past and is happening now again to something, or
it's like, oh my god, the orc raiders, they're really far away, but they're coming.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the next, like, the characters are like, fuck it, we got weeks for that. Next, like, they get woken up in the middle of the night, the town's getting raided.
Right.
What the fuck? Well, how are they here this fast?
Right. Yeah.
So that's already a little bit of intrigue,
right,
alongside forcing them into it, because otherwise I'm gonna have to just leave town. But I think they'll still be interested in it
potentially. Yeah, I mean, it's combining different cliches to then have a different kind of setup as well, right? Like very, very much something that could work. You got like, millions of possibilities.
Every cliche that throw them all in a blender.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Hey Entropy and hey Shin. Okay, you're a group of tavern keepers when this shady group of adventurers come in. Yes, absolutely.
That would be all right. You start in a tavern and you're serving drinks. Yo,
one of them's the barmaid. One of them, like.
Yep.
Oh, one of them just cleaning
And then
up,
it's
like
yeah, and then the guy bursts in, and everyone he's like delivering his message. All the adventurers are like, fuck it, I'm too drunk for this. And then you are the only ones who are able to do it.
yeah, you could have it be that way.
That would be hilarious.
Mhm. Dice on the table are cool. Yes, I like their little setup they have going on here. It looks nice.
It's played out.
It is played out.
And it's a joke that your character, that they would
They're
meet,
in a tavern.
that they would meet and start in a tavern.
Right.
Let's kind of think about it for a minute. Taverns are places where people gather.
Yeah.
It's perfectly natural and very relatable kind of beginning.
The other thing that you could do is just change the location, make it not a tavern, right? Like you could just do the same thing, but at like a guild hall.
Yeah, you
Like-
meet you are all together in the Duke's little soiree in town or whatever.
Yeah. There's a feast going on that the Lord is holding, and everybody has been invited who's of importance, and all that kind of stuff, right? Like any kind of social setting can really work.
You guys are all in the brothel, and
Yeah, legitimately, yeah.
that would also be hilarious.
You could do that, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
Yeah. I look at myself. How many times have I find myself in a tavern? At least 3 times a week.
At least, right?
I quiz twice, and I play D&D in a tavern. So
There you go.
literally, me as a person goes to a tavern 3 days
3
out of
days
the
out of the week.
7 days a week. So am I living a cliche life, or am I just living my life?
It depends on how many mysterious wizards come in and give you a quest.
Yes. Draco Kraken, gotcha. You adventurers meet at the DMV. Absolutely, yes.
Oh God.
Everybody's just
Okay.
sitting, waiting for their number to be called.
Okay, so now we gotta. All right. So
Yeah.
now you've got me with this
Yep.
one. All right.
Yep.
So, what is the fantasy DMV? Because obviously the DMV in real life is
It's
getting
the
a
Merchants
driver's license
Guild,
and shit.
or not the Merchants Guild. It's like a stable, right? Like a place where they actually would sell horses to people, right?
Oh, okay.
Kinda
Get,
like
your
that.
horse license or something.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that everybody needs a horse, so they're just waiting to get seen and all that kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
Could be that, or it could be like a merchants guild or a traveling kind of guild of some sort, right? Like in the sense of
Yeah.
just being rides
Oh!
between towns,
Yeah, you know what else it could be? It, like you were saying before, it could be an adventurers guild.
Yeah.
Where it's like first come, first serve on quests.
Yeah. There you go.
So like you go up to the counter, it's like, okay, guild guild girl from Monster Hunter, what quests do you have for me?
Exactly.
It's like, well, this one got taken, this one's not available.
Yep.
This one's more at your level,
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Yeah.
like, and then you like slam your hand on the desk. The fuck you say this is my level? Give me something harder.
Right, yeah.
Bitch.
But yeah, you could do that for sure.
That would be very funny.
It would be good.
Oh my god.
Changes your life
Well, it's happened a few
and
times.
starts you out on the hero's journey.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm a fucking cliche.
Oh yeah. You could be playing tavern employees in a cyberpunk setting. That game does exist, though. That's true.
Yeah.
Brothel works. Galvin would like that. There you go. Maybe you could do something with the cyberpunk BMV.
Or the CMV, like
Mhm.
cyber. You have to get like a license to get like certain kinds of
Cyberware,
cyber,
yeah.
maybe. Or you could do like a magic school
Yeah.
exam
Oh,
to
yeah.
like get into magic school.
Ooh, yes. I
Yeah.
love that, actually.
Because that is a thing that happens so often in anime where it's like, oh, this world has magic, and it almost always starts off with like a school
yeah,
like
that's true.
exam to gauge power levels and shit.
Yeah. A steampunk DMV. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man, you
everybody's-
got like the MMV, like for steampunk mechs.
Yeah, like like a train station could be a place,
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many ideas that you got once you start thinking about it. Like it was a joke in the beginning, but now you've got us.
Yeah. Like no, it's great.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
You just think of like these stupid scenarios that everybody fucking hates, and like, what if fantasy though?
Yeah, exactly. It works for literally any setting, really.
Yeah.
Here's what you can do to liven it up. First off, you can change the environment up. The purpose of the
Hey.
tavern is that it's a central location that's familiar to everyone. It's a touchstone. So maybe you don't meet up in a tavern, you meet up at a fair or a festival or a town square or something like that.
I haven't even thought about fairs and festivals. That makes sense. Yeah, the Harvest Festival is happening right now, you know, like
And everybody's fucking going to hang out.
yeah, exactly. Like it's a perfect reason to get a bunch of people together that's more organic, I feel, in a lot of different ways. Cuz who doesn't like just going to a fair sometimes? Me. But like
like that. The tavern is just a convenient excuse to have the characters together in one spot, relaxed. They're not expecting combat, and yet at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that they can do as they're working out who their characters are, waiting for the plot hooks and everything to sort of drop. Switch that up. Maybe it's a tournament that they're meeting at, and the player characters are either participants in the tournament or spectators or something like that, meeting someone. Or you can go back and you can say, well, what is it about meeting at the tavern that appeals to me? It's rustic. It's familiar. It's close. It suggests characters who are low level, who have concerns like eating and drinking and living in a.
sorry, that one just hit me. They have concerns like eating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they have,
know.
if they don't have a lot of money.
I know. It's just it's very good. BMV
Yeah,
means
that's-
Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Some states use that name for it. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Ah.
Okay.
Place. The tavern kind of channels all that, and you can have it, be something that leans into the cliche. Says, yeah, that's perfectly fine. You guys are meeting in a tavern. That's probably what you guys do.
You know what? I would actually like to see a starting kind of thing of like people coming to you know how like there are not necessarily lodges, but like way stations, quote unquote, for like people that hunt and everything. Like people just make these little spaces that they can go to and kind of sit down, and it's kind of for anybody who's out in the wilderness and hunting. And like having them meet up in that kind of area where everybody went to go on like a hunt to find like food or just to go and like hunt something because they wanted to bring home a trophy or something, and then everybody's just kind of at this place and sharing the stories of their previous hunts and stuff, and then like, oh, what are you going for now, like all of that kind of thing. It's just it's like a more isolated kind of meetup space that you could then have be like, oh, okay, you then the big noise outside, that doesn't sound like anything that should be in the area, like any kind of thing.
Elephant, what the hell?
Whoa! Yeah, but I like that as an idea as well, because it's both a communal space but also isolated from like a town or something, right? Breathing air is a real concern nowadays. True.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in the smog-infested cities on the coast.
Yeah. Poor Aiden.
Yeah. So Alejo wants them to meet at a youth hostel. I don't even know what a fucking youth hostel is. What is that? Hold on. You've got me curious.
Well, I mean, a hostel, is that not just like a
There we go.
kind of like a road hotel in Europe? Isn't it that type of thing?
I think so. Here we go. Youth hostel, supervised shelter providing inexpensive overnight lodging, particularly for young people. Oh,
Okay then.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that would work too, I guess. It's like a budget hotel, I guess. Like a real budget one. Oh yeah. A hostel is a form of low-cost, short-term, shared, sociable lodging where guests can rent a bed, usually a bunk bed, in a dormitory sleeping 4 to 20 people. Yeah, okay, yeah. Absolutely, that would be a great a thing that I'm kind of envisioning. Absolutely, something like that. All these aerobic cells these days requiring air to live. Back in my day, you were anaerobic and you liked it. That's right.
3 days a week, right?
Or it could just be an alcoholic.
That's true, but you don't have to be in a tavern to drink, though.
That is true. Thank you.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Another cliche, of course. There's a tower, and in that tower is a princess.
Yeah.
And around there, probably some kind of beast or dragon.
Some kind of beast.
So, this is one that is a cliche, but I don't see it much. You know?
Yeah. Because I think that it is such a cliche that I think most people stray away from it.
Right, and like I can see it being like turned on its head a little bit here and there with it not having certain elements to it, right? Like you don't have the damsel in distress, whatever the fuck. You just you have it's the tower that you have to get to that holds the whatever that you need, and then you have to get past the guarding beasts or whatever to get there. Like or you just have to go to a tower to meet somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
So it might be a little bit too obvious it might be a little too obvious, but the way that I would want to do that is if I decided to do a damsel in distress, princess in the tower, kidnapped by a dragon type thing.
Yeah.
The adventurers come into town and they see posters that the king wants to talk to, powerful adventurers to save his daughter.
Sure.
And they go to the king and he's like, "Oh, a dragon fucking kidnapped my daughter. I want you to go get her back. He took her to like this tower. Go and get her back, bring her back here." You go to the tower, you fight through, like whatever guards are there. And you do notice that the guards are like people.
Yeah.
And not like monster folk.
Yeah.
So you fight there, you fight your way through there. And instead of killing them, they tend to surrender. Because, they're living people.
Yeah.
You make your way up the tower, and you get to the princess and the dragon, but the dragon is polymorphed. The dragon is a guy polymorphed into a like human form, and turned out that he was a noble living in the city, and he courted the princess legitimately.
Yeah.
And so the king sees it as a kidnapping, but they've effectively eloped. The princess does not want to go back. She is in love with this dragon, and she is aware that it is a dragon. She is okay with the dragon dick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So she's okay with it, and that is how I would do it. It kind of gets this
a subversion.
Exactly. So you didn't kill any of the guards because they weren't the like violent monsters that evil dragons tend to employ,
right?
Like orcs, kobolds, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they knew that it was the princess of the kingdom who, maybe they were her former retainers.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, go upstairs. We won't stop you. Just don't kill us, please.
Yeah.
And we won't even try to like fight you on your way out.
Right.
We'll drop our weapons.
Right.
That is what I would want to do. I don't really know how you would develop past that. It could just be a quick little quest where it's like, oh, well, the princess fell in love with the dragon and she's completely fine with it, and they just kind of eloped. And this was like a stop on the way back to like whatever home the dragon has like prepared,
Yeah.
Maybe he's following her back to her lair, and he like lairs in like some ruins that he's fixed up. Maybe it's like a silver dragon, something like that.
Could be. Yeah, no, it could be one of those things. You could develop it in a way of like, well, you go back, you tell the king, and the king's like, oh, but you didn't do what I asked, though.
Exactly.
Right? And then it's just like, oh, sir, you do realize that we aren't gonna just kill somebody who's like in love, right?
Yeah, because she's an adult woman. She can do what she wants. And hell, maybe this was all a way to escape like a what is it?
An arranged marriage.
That's it. An arranged marriage. I kept thinking political marriage.
That's also fair. Yeah, that's another way to spin it.
It's just another term for it.
See, and then from there you can then say, well, that arranged marriage was for political power, like an alliance that was set, and now that's been fucked up, and now something happens because of that, of like that nation or whatever is now like, well, you backed out on the deal.
And maybe this nation is not exactly nice,
right?
And maybe they start sending in like mercenaries and shit. And maybe the king was like, "Oh my god, she was in love. I had no idea. I never would have offered her hand if I knew that."
Exactly.
She was courted in secret.
Yeah. Like. And
so now you're actually like helping the king because he's like, well, shit, I don't want to do that to my daughter, so she's free to go. If you ever see her again, give her my well wishes and shit like that.
Yeah.
You can develop it into a
Yeah, it just make it turn into just a whole political political plot
Easter
slash
Dragon or a Wicked Witch.
slash what is it, a war story in a way as well, because of you know, mounting tensions, or even subterfuge in a lot of like a more spy kind of story in a way, right, where they have people, operatives coming into, like you're saying, mercenaries coming into destabilize the nation so that they can have an easier time to like make deals and take over and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you can go through a whole bunch of different scenarios.
Yeah, and
after
hell,
that.
yeah, I think even then, I don't know if I would go the whole way to having the other nation attack. I think I would have them send in the mercenaries to start fucking with like supply lines.
Yeah.
And, like when you said make better deals, I think
Yes.
turning it purely into a mercantile war or trade war. There we go.
Yeah, trade war. Yeah,
Trade war would be even more interesting, I think.
Yeah, then you'd have to have them like securing resources and such, and trying to figure out how to stop these attacks on the trade lines, and maybe establish like become envoys and establish new trade lines with other nations to then get their power back that way.
Maybe if you have to secure more resources, maybe there's a nice forest full of beautiful hardwood trees, but it's filled with fucking monsters. And you gotta go in and clear it out. Maybe there's a mine that like the dwarves dug a long time ago, but there are other seams of shit in there, but they got driven out by like bugbears or like underdark shit.
Exactly.
You clear out the mine, and then I think trying your best to keep it with very low violence would make it a lot more interesting, except for like the dungeons. I mean, but specifically between the nations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it is that is that subterfuge kind of thing, but like it's not an open war; it's that secret trade war.
Yeah, it's not. It's a cold war. It's not a hot war.
Yeah.
You know, if the rival nation is trying to fuck up trade routes, instead of attacking them and like harrying merchants, maybe they have like magic users or some big monsters like Goliaths, even maybe like a smart giant or whatever, or someone who can use a large reduce, and they're causing like avalanches or landslides on certain pathways. You're blocking off trade routes. You're not killing anybody.
Yeah, they could be like agitating the like local wildlife in such a way to like, not wildlife, monstrous wildlife, I guess, to then be driven into certain areas to then harry the trade routes, and like poking at, I don't know, like poking at maybe the giants who live in the mountains, to then make it so that they get angry at anybody who goes through them now.
And maybe they're like, now they're demanding like extortionate tribute to even pass through. It's ogres, make them Greasus.
Like just a whole bunch of things that they are just causing rather than directly harming. Which they would harm anyway, so it would still be on their hands if anybody did die, but
but they are not actively murdering people.
Yeah.
I think that's what's most important. You can still have all the combat you want for the player characters when they're going into these dungeons to secure resources,
right,
or possibly dealing with what is effectively PMCs.
Exactly. Yep.
You can have all that combat, but try to keep the nations in a cold war and a trade war, not a hot war.
Yeah, I agree. That would be very interesting. And then because of that, they can then like, because they have claimed these resources and stuff, they can even like manage them and get a little bit of income that way, a little bit, or like be granted land around that resource maybe, to then develop it further and all of this kind of stuff. For like you can go many different ways with this kind of thing, I feel.
And I think what would be, so I see one difficulty that pops up, and that is how would the combat be, and I specifically, I mean the rivalry between nations, not the actual combat. How would this rivalry be stopped? Because the whole thing started because of an arranged marriage falling through.
Right.
So would it be possible to assuage the rival kingdom by finding a beautiful woman who is willing to marry their prince? Or would that not really work? You know what I
No, it would
mean?
have to, yeah, it would have to be somebody of like noble birth or power or something, right?
So then you know what? Okay. Then
But
you talk to the king, and it's like, well, okay, your daughter eloped, sucks. Have you ever had any other children? Do your relatives have any other children that might be willing to do this for the sake of the kingdom? Blah, 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 blah.
yeah, potentially
So,
that's
and then it's like, well, I had a brother, but he died about 5 years back. But I did hear that he took a wife at one point. He might have had kids, and then they lived over here.
right. And then
So
it's
you
a
got to
quest to
go over
find them.
there, and you got to investigate like a genealogical record and
Yeah.
find the most. Yeah. So you got to find someone of royal descent.
Yeah. Yeah, the
That would be
quest to
cool.
find royalty, absolutely. Lost
Yes.
royalty.
Maybe they don't know their royalty.
Yeah,
That would be neat.
It's it's a little Oblivion there, a little bit.
It's a little Oblivion,
Yeah,
and
which is fine.
It also feels a little bit Disney.
A little bit, yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck? Cinderella.
Yes.
Even though she wasn't a princess, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. There's some.
She starts out, normal. And
Yeah,
she
yeah,
gets
yeah.
The glow up.
yeah. Literally because of the magic. Hi.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you could go that route as well. I was also thinking of potentially building the kingdom's wealth enough that they could pay off the debt, quote unquote, that they have now accrued to
that could be another option.
the kingdom, right? Like that's another way that you can go, because it's really about trying to get that power control in such a way, and money's usually pretty good at that, and also it could be just trying to find a different way to ally with this other kingdom in the background, like find something that they actually need.
Yes, I was gonna go there.
Yeah.
So the whole thing of them wanting the political marriage was to gain power or funding to deal with something else.
Yeah.
Now that they can't, they're starting to affect trade so they can make more money so they can do that. But if the characters are willing to go there and just take care of the problem for them, which is a big fucking problem, maybe then peace could be established.
Right.
Because now there's no need for this anymore.
Exactly. Something like that.
That can act, man. I feel like we've written a fairly decent story here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like this is pretty all right.
Yeah, you just go and tweak some stuff here and there, and yeah, you can have that one for free.
Yeah, it's not very cliched anymore.
Yeah, well, it's made of cliched elements that we can then set in whatever way we need to. Just like they were talking about, like we were talking about before.
Yeah, damsel in distress doesn't always suck.
Nope, absolutely not. I think too many of us now grew up on Shrek for us to do the Princess Tower straight without any twists. Yeah. Shrek is very good with that, because it was the whole whoa, this actually should become the ogre.
Maybe you could have a Princess Tower where you have to fight a series of increasingly powerful princesses.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes, I love it. I love the interspecies relationships. There you go. Yeah.
Maybe you can get the king to marry the prince. That's funny.
Hey, yeah, maybe. The local nature goddesses don't like you cutting down the trees. Yep. See if the king's son works the rival prince as a partner. Yep. Could be. Yeah, there's a bunch of routes that you can go. Absolutely. So, yeah, steal that. Go for it.
Yes, please, somebody steal that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that it's recorded, because I kind of wanted to write it down after that.
Well, there you go.
I've got enough shit written down.
Now remember 223.
Nah, not gonna happen.
stepmother or something
Yeah, yeah.
that's keeping her locked in. The Princess in a Tower is one of those where a big surprise, a game like The Witcher or a setting like The Witcher, the Witcher stories, which I've just started to read, sort of tries to subvert those things and says like, all right, these are the fairy tales, but what if they were real, and what if they were real monsters, and what if there was a monster hunter out there to take care of them?
Yeah.
The Princess in a Tower, it could easily be a prince or some other kind, or a diplomat or something. The point of it is that it's a person in a tower or imprisoned some way in which they can't get out themselves, and maybe they've been unjustly imprisoned, or maybe they've been justly imprisoned. What if the princess in the tower is there because she's not a particularly good person, and keeping her locked up is sort of keeping everyone else safe?
Sure.
Yeah.
But her agents out in the wild have spread the rumor that the innocent princess has been wrongly imprisoned by her wicked stepmother, and
That's
she
a good
really
one.
needs to...
I do like that, because it's
Yeah.
something that you then find out later that you fucked up, guys, idiots.
Mm-hmm.
be set free.
Yeah, because what if she's a little bit more in lines with what's her name, Elizabeth
Bathory.
Bathory? Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Bloody Duchess or whatever. I don't know. I forgot what it was called.
Right.
You know, they can't kill her because she's somewhat royalty.
Yeah, sure. They can't.
They
just,
have got to keep her the fuck away from people, right?
Because she's going to just keep bathing in the blood of milkmaids. And
Yup.
maybe the characters catch wind of this rumors, and as they get closer and closer to what they see is like, well, if we rescue the princess, then we'll win her hand in marriage and become princes of the realm, and blah, 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 blah.
All four of us.
all of
Yes.
us.
And as you get closer, they sort of uncover the mystery and realize, well, maybe this person that's being imprisoned isn't quite so good. Or maybe it is. Maybe the fact that they've been imprisoned suggests a problem in the kingdom or the realm. Changing something about it. Changing either who was imprisoned, why they were imprisoned, or the conditions around that imprisonment.
Or what about this? What if, yes, there's a princess, there's a tower, and there's a dragon, but the princess is an evil sorceress, and she has imprisoned a silver dragon, and keeps this story going out, so adventurers show up just so she has something to feed her dragon that's imprisoned. They get up there, and they're like, oh, we're going to defeat this dragon. They get there, like, why are you chained up? And then she hits them.
Right.
Oh, thank you. I don't have to go out and find food
I
today.
don't have to go out and find food today. A lot of times you just...
I find that to be relatively weak.
Yeah, that one's pretty weak.
It's, you can do that, sure. I feel like we can tweak that a little bit, but, it's fine. We've already come up with our idea, it's fine.
Yeah.
hint at a cliche or something, the players will run with it, expecting something, going off of assumptions.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, entropy. So you free the princess in one arc, and then you get a Jack the Ripper murder mystery in the later story arc, implying that it's actually the princess who's then doing that kind of stuff. I love that. Yeah.
That they bring themselves. This is metagaming on the DM's part.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. It's how you build interesting stories.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with metagaming, full stop. And so the players start expecting something. They bring their own assumptions. They vocalize those things while they're discussing it. The DM's listening to what they're having to say, adapting his campaign or her campaign to what the players are doing. And now
that is something that you could do. I'm not against that. It's just one of those things that I wouldn't do myself.
All of a sudden, the players are expecting one thing. You flip it on them. They realize that they've been making the wrong assumptions about stuff. That the way that they've been approaching this has been in error the entire time, and now they've gotten themselves in a sticky situation that it's harder to extract themselves from. And that's kind of how you... It's honestly how you deceive and lie to the players and make them their own worst enemies, sort of practicing DM judo against them.
Yeah, you have to use their own expectations and assumptions against them, because if they only have one clue, and they try to extrapolate to the end, well, you might need to get one or two more clues so you can triangulate that shit.
Yes, you need to feed them enough breadcrumbs that they keep going and feel like they have information, but not so much that they have a full and clear picture about what's going on.
Yeah, so Dracker Kraken, I think one thing to be careful of is the idea that subversion for the sake of subversion is rarely fun. Yes. It's that whole thing that we were talking about, of course, before, is execution rather than just the idea, right? Because we can point to things for subversion just because, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you had an opportunity here, but you didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, you just wanted to say, oh, fooled ya.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Honestly, one of a good example I can think of for a subversion for subversion's sake was actually when we played Ghost. What the fuck was it? Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, yeah.
toward the very, very end of that game, there's like a subversive ending that is immediately just discarded.
Yes.
And I was so mad at that. I
Yeah.
would have been really happy if they stuck with the subversive ending, but like even in the moment, I'm like, oh my god, this is so fucked up, but it's realistic and it could absolutely happen, and I like it, but I hate it, but I like it, and then they immediately just throw it away.
Yeah, exactly.
I was so angry at that.
The Ghost Recon Wildlands ending.
That's it.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like, okay, what was the fucking point of this whole scene if you were just gonna do that anyway?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
just
what
to say thing bad? Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. You need to make sure that if you're gonna do a subversion and it doesn't do anything in the end, you need to make sure. Oh wait, no. If you want to do a subversion, you need to make sure that your players won't be asking, "What was the point of that?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed.
Because it needs to have some kind of point.
Yes. A change I would make would be, what if the Silver Dragon gets messed up by being forced to eat adventurers all caged up, so now you'd have to deal with that, like the horse is trained to eat people in Greek myth. Yeah, that's something you could do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, you know what it could be like? So you go there, sorceress, feeding people to the dragon. He's been eating people because he has no choice, and like because of her magic. You kill her, you free him, and he's like, well, fuck. I'm a silver dragon, I'm a good guy. I need you to help me like purify my soul. And it basically becomes kind of like helping a paladin restore his oath.
Yeah, true.
That would be really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you got to go around and maybe like you have to help him find like shrines. Maybe you have to find like a literal paladin pilgrimage route for him. And he has to go there and like purify himself.
You can follow the path of Bahamut back to the light.
That would be cool, because then that's the adventure. And maybe it's like he kind of goes with you, but because of her magic, he can't do anything somehow.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of way to temper the dragon.
Like maybe he is stuck in a human form until she cast a spell on him that allowed him to she forcibly polymorphed him back into a dragon. And then like when he was done eating, she polymorphed him back.
Yeah.
Like back into a human. So now he can't do anything. He can't really fight, but you know.
Yeah. And then it could be some magical bullshit, basically.
Yeah, just say magic. It usually works.
Yeah, this is one of those cases of just like, it's a curse of some kind, and the only way to do it is to go on this pilgrimage to get rid of it. Yeah, right?
because fuck you, your remove curse isn't gonna work on this.
Yeah, this is way too powerful. Just a simple remove curse. This needs the divine intervention of the path of
Baphomet, yeah.
Baphomet, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, wait, was I supposed to worship Bahamut or Baphomet?
They're too similar.
Yeah.
Right. The gaps that they're filling in are where they start to stumble and make wrong assumptions about things. And then as they get to the climax of the particular adventure or campaign or whatever, they realize that they've been making some wrong assumptions. Now, that's difficult to pull off. You can easily get in a situation where the player's like, I have no idea what's going on, and the DM's being stingy with information. This is a delicate act of feeding the characters misinformation and letting their own wild expectations get the better of them. But it can be done.
So, sometimes the DM can do a bamboozle. So another cliche, especially in this day and age of television and film, the zombie horde.
Good grief.
Everybody's got a zombie horde, right?
Everybody's got a zombie horde.
And they're fast zombies, they're slow zombies.
Fast, slow, they puke, they run, they jump, they've got spikes, they're noxious.
There's a lot of zombie media.
There's a lot of zombie media. I think one of the cliches that I hate the most is, now that we're talking about zombies and dead,
specifically.
One of my most hated cliches is when the concept of necromancy is outlawed because anybody could raise an army of the undead.
Sure.
And so then your whole plot revolves around people, trying to secretly use necromancy
Sure.
to do
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and then the character, I don't know what it is, but that one is just so boring to me.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. What I would do for something like that is to pass some sort of law of the world where if you want to study necromancy, you are able to, but you are branded in some way, right?
Okay.
So then everybody can still do it. It's just that everybody who's been branded is now suspicious of is seen as suspicious because of that brand. And so the people who do it but don't get branded, you can still have that if you want, but everybody like would probably want to at least get the brand so that they don't get in trouble with it, and then go around and do their secret shit in their secret places to keep that shit secret. But then it gives you the ability to then create like a character who then has this brand, so then they get that kind of thing of like, oh, everybody in town is like, I don't know about this guy. And then you can kind of show them that you aren't so bad by doing things for them and everything. And hell, you could have it be that an NPC is like, hey man, I just really want to like show people that necromancy is useful, okay? And like, if I just summon some skeletons, they can plow fields. Like that's a thing that we could just do with them, right? Like, yeah, sure. We're desecrating the dead. It's fine, Mom and Dad wanted to work the field their whole lives, and guess what? Now they can work it their own lives.
Yeah, and I think an important distinction would be to not do ghosts.
No.
Do specifically skeletons, because that is just animated bones.
Exactly.
There's no spirit in there.
Exactly.
And
Zombies
I think,
are also the same way. It's just a husk.
Yeah, I think the problem with zombies is the smell and the disease. Skeletons
that's
are
fair.
safer because it's just bones.
That is true.
And the one that I really wanted to do, it's ended hilariously. It's actually from a music video, or a music video like animatic, because it never got fully animated. And it is what the hell was the song? It's called Magic, but I don't remember the was it Mystery Skulls Magic?
I don't know.
Let me see. It's a really good video. Let me see. Oh, come on. I just want to see if that's the video, because
yeah. Go for it.
Mystery.
There's a lot of zombie media looking at you 28 years later. Why do you exist? Yeah, I've heard bad things. That's exciting.
Yeah, Mystery Skulls Magic. Mystery Skulls Magic Animatic. It's from 10 years ago, but basically, it just follows the story of like a necromancer conductor.
Ooh.
Who goes into graveyards and then summons ghosts, and they just play music.
Hell yeah.
And so the whole deal of the character would be like, well, I summon them, except I don't yank them out of the afterlife. I essentially extend a hand, and they are free to take it. And for a night, they can come back, see the world that they were in, and enjoy it a little bit. And then they are free to refuse the summons if they want. And if they don't, you'll hear some pretty music.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick with my skeleton horde. Yes. Mounted skeleton archer horde. Yes, there you go. A cliche that bugs me with the zombies is that they all need to eat mindlessly and get mixed up with ghouls. I enjoy when writers remember they can be undead workers. Yeah. Yep. It's the whole, like, if you go for the I think it's the voodoo kind of actual like zombie thing that was the original zombie thing. It was just
zombie with an eye.
Yeah.
And not just an eye.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I believe that's how they were spelled originally.
I think so. And it's just like a guy. Like it's just a guy.
It's basically like a mind-controlled servant.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to eat, it doesn't need to sleep, it's just there. It just does the thing. Like it doesn't have to eat brains and stuff. Yeah, the zombie virus was the thing that everybody went, "Oh, it make you eat the people." That's where that came from, right? And I would love to actually like deep dive that someday and like figure out when the transition happened and like where that happened, I guess. But that would take me some time to actually look into.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Magic is Mystery Skulls, great band. There you go.
Yes. It's actually my favorite song from them. I fucking love that song.
I will have to look into this. Scooby-Doo had a henchman zombie monster, funnily enough. Yes, that is true. Scooby-Doo is great. Anyway.
Obviously the one, interestingly enough, zombie horde that I'm less concerned about and actually kind of excited of seeing is the one that appears in the later seasons of Game of Thrones. I think that's
sorry, dude.
Yeah.
You like everybody else also went, oh.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, man, they were cool.
In the beginning, it seems like it was fine. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I do know the fucking fallout that happened.
Yeah. It's, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, thought when you brought up Mystery Skulls, you were going to mention the animation where they killed Fred from fake Scooby-Doo.
Well, don't worry. I have seen those.
That's great.
You gotta see that.
I will.
Have you never seen those?
No, I've never seen them. So
Ooh.
yeah, send me a bunch of links and I'll look at them.
I will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a well done one, just because the villains are interesting, the dilemma is interesting, the world that it inhabits presents this challenge as an interesting one. A zombie horde like that in Dungeons and Dragons is like, well, we've got like 20 dragons on our side and a bunch of wizards that'll come around, and that kind of zombie horde in a typical Dungeons and Dragons setting is like a challenge for an afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why in Expedition to Castle Ravenloft, the first thing you do is go through a zombie fight. Like, and stop that from happening. It's the very first thing to introduce you to it, because it's like, yeah, this is going to be something that's easy enough, and it will take you like 2 hours in game, right? Like, if that, just to get through it and get into Ravenloft.
Less an existential threat to all civilization itself and more kind of a nuisance.
If they're just regular ass zombies like Walking Dead, and then you just drop some wizards and whatever in there, like they're gonna start mopping that up pretty quick.
They're going to start mopping it up. So how do you do a zombie horde in Dungeons and Dragons that makes it interesting or makes it or a genuine threat? And I have used them in the past in conjunction with something else.
Exactly.
So I've used a zombie horde in the past after the realm has been weakened by years of famine and drought, which has led to widespread death, which means there are a lot of unburied bodies in abandoned villages that there's no one there to put up a defense against this thing. And every victory for the zombie horde feeds its army, and the zombie horde is being led by vampires and liches and ghosts.
Yeah, zombies are literally for most of D&D and this, like, the usage in these fantasy games, they are the jobber. They just are. Like, legitimately, that's all that they can really be. Which is why for my personal world and what I created with the undead, they have their society, so they aren't just jobbers, they are people. So like you go to like an undead city, which is underground and everything, because all of the undead are band together because they are hated by societies usually. Not hated, but like looked down upon and distrusted, right? Because they are dead. Effectively.
Yes. And hell, you're kind of doing what the fuck are they called in World of Warcraft? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck is the faction
Forsaken.
called?
The Forsaken.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes, the Forsaken.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much that. Yes, I completely forgot that they existed actually for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's not really done anything with in that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because they're my favorite faction in WoW. Yeah, that's where my warlock has been Cuddlesaur the fucking Forsaken forever.
Nice. I never wanted to play as them because I just didn't want to be like a gross zombie guy, you know? That's all.
It's fair.
I just didn't like the gore for the characters. That's
Oh,
about
okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that was all.
I get you. But yeah, so yeah, it's just kind of that, and then you go and like you have your zombies, you have ghosts that also are around because they have thoughts and such sometimes, and if there are errant ghosts and zombies that are being used by like magic, then it's like, well, that's different than the people who have like succumbed and become these things, or chose sometimes to become these things after death. And it's like, you have the families who are like, well, that guy's fucking dead to me,
Literally and figuratively.
exactly. So don't like that, don't like you still walking. And so they live underground in their society and everything. So they be,
and then
so
you probably have like higher levels of
yes,
higher tiers of undead.
Yes.
Zombies being low, maybe skeletons also being
Yep.
low, but then you have ghouls and ghasts and
Yep.
vampires and shit.
Yeah, exactly. The because of the way that my lore is set up,
Soulblight Glaive Lords.
yeah. So the way that I set up my lore and everything is that the vampires were like the original undead that then, because of them being the first, and then this whole like curse kind of becoming a thing, and then the actual zombie virus and all that kind of stuff that turns people, and the ghosts that then would also come under the banner, they banded all these people together, so they have their council, and they have, they're the ones who kind of rule over them, but they don't, discriminate. If you're an undead, you are part of the family, basically. And it's like, well, yeah, because nobody else is going to take you in, so we will.
Yes.
And
I think part of the reason why, moving over a little bit into Warhammer, the part of the reason why I chose the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, aside from them looking fucking sweet as hell,
sweet as fuck,
is just because I feel like skeletons are really underrepresented.
Yes. I agree.
One of the things that Oblivion did, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, is you had zombie, then you had like rotten zombie, and you had like dread zombie, and like mega zombie, and like Chad zombie. So you had all these different tiers of zombies, and it was the same thing with skeletons.
Yeah.
So I was always thinking, why is a skeleton always just the weakest thing?
Yeah.
Can we not have like tiers of skeletons?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I was like, I think skeletons are really underrepresented because it doesn't seem like they ever do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like having the skeletons that are huge amalgamations of bones, those ones are like way fucking more powerful than your jobber skeleton man.
Well, I mean, even then, I'm like, I kind of want to have powerful humanoid skeletons
absolutely.
as
You
well.
would still have them for sure. I'm just saying,
and it's not, it's not just like, you've got skeleton, who is the weakest,
right,
and then you have minotaur skeleton, which is stronger. It's not even just that. Like, I want different tiers of just plain humanoid skeleton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they've got more intelligence, they've got armor.
That's
and
exactly. The way that you distinguish it is like their selection of equipment a lot of the time.
Yeah, and maybe you could do things like the Bone Reapers, where they have, like, magically reinforced bone.
Exactly.
Like, their bones are thicker and bigger.
Enchanting themselves by etching their own bones with runes or some sort of thing. And
exactly like the Bone Reapers, they fucking do that shit.
There you go. I don't know much about them, even though I like them a lot. They're cool. I just know what they look like.
There is one called the Ivory Host.
Yeah. And
they are also known as the Scrimshawed Legion.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they use like giant behemoth bones, and they carve runes into them.
Fuck yeah.
And they're super haughty and like, look at us, look at how beautiful we are with these intricate carvings.
Yeah, for sure.
But because they used beast bone, they have this shit simmering under the surface, kind of like Blood Angels, the Red Thirst.
Sure, yeah.
Where they show up to fights and they're like beautifully regaled and shit. But once they get in there, they unleash like hell and they go fucking insane.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is super cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's really good.
If ghouls were used as the mindless undead eaters instead of zombies more often, it wouldn't bug me as much. Yeah, because that's what they technically are. The zombies aren't necessarily like the eater things. I get you. Maybe you could show a zombie horde rise up and start to attack, and then an orcish horde runs in and wipes it out on the way to invading the kingdom. Sure, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Maybe liches and vampires are the ones that help the other undead make it underground to safety. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's have Gashadokuro. I don't know what that is.
Oh, Gashadokuro. Those are the ones that are the zombies that eat fucking nasty shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, are they? Let me see. Goshadokuro. Let me see.
Yeah.
Goshadokuro. Yokai.
Yeah.
Oh, giant skeletal yokai. Okay.
Okay,
It's formed from the amassed bones of people who died from starvation or in battle without proper burial. Gotcha.
Oh, those ones. Yeah.
That's my bad.
Okay.
What was I thinking of? I'm thinking of a Gaki.
Yes, you're thinking. Yes,
G-A-K-I.
Gaki. Yeah, Gaki. Exactly.
Hungry ghosts. Yep.
Yeah. I love undead. Me too. Aren't the Osiarchs also tax collectors?
Yes, the bone tithe.
The bone tithe.
They don't collect money, they collect bones.
Exactly. Dude, the AOS ghouls that believe that they are still noble knights and lords are sick. Yes.
They flesh eater courts.
Yes,
that's it.
the flesh eater courts are sick as fuck. There's so many models that I want from that, and anyway. All right.
Things like that. It's a whole necromantic threat, not just a horde of the shambling dead. You can do it sort of in the wake of a war or something. You know, there's a massive war that's come through. Untended battlegrounds in Dungeons and Dragons would be terrible things, right? A battlefield is already kind of a bad thing. Medieval battlefield.
What was there? I can't remember if this is. I don't think this is an official monster in any capacity. I feel like it's a Kobold Press monster that was the big skeleton that had like armaments and stuff on its and like spikes on its back that it would then pile corpses onto. It was like corpse collectors or something. I don't remember. It was
well, there is
it was really cool.
There is one like that in the Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It's called the Gothazar Harvester. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Gothazar.
No, there's cadaver collectors is the other thing that I was thinking of.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Do you want to see the harvester?
I would love
still
to see the other. Yeah.
Okay, harvester.
It's
so what these guys do is they wander around the battlefield and they help fight and shit, but they have little hands and shit on their body that sort through the dead and put it onto a big fucking like cage on their back.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh wait, hang on, no. Copy image. There we go. Paste. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, that's also something that I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they strip all the flesh off of the bodies as they like move through the battlefield, still killing shit.
Yeah.
And then the mages of the Bone Reapers then use that material. They either collect it and bring it back, or they can use it mid-battle to repair their soldiers mid-battle.
Which is really cool.
It's really cool and fucked, and I love it.
Yeah, this is the cadaver collector that I was thinking. It's a construct, like golem thing that goes about and literally impales shit all over it, and yeah, it's sick.
That's cool. Oh, sorry. Whoops, I didn't actually mean to play that. That's my bad.
Oh, no, you're good. Let's see. Oh, hey, Boo, I'm working on making a character for my story that is a skeleton. It should be pretty cool. Hey!
Nice.
There you go.
That's cool.
There's also the Pathfinder monster that's the giant necro ooze made from the bones and weapons of battlefields. Can't remember the name. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Cool.
An idea I like is having it so that whenever there's a battle with massive casualties that don't get buried, the two armies will keep rising again as skeletons and fighting each other for eternity. Do a little bit of that kind of Valhalla-esque, kind of chaos-esque Corn thing, you know?
Yeah.
Having endless battles. No, I love that. I love that. It's a great thing to have as a curse for a land, you know? of just the dead continue to rise and fight. So this is just a thing that happens, and it's in a spot that is a place that if you go through it quickly, you can get somewhere really fast. But if you have to go around it, it'll take you like days longer. So like you gotta assess the risk of going through this battlefield and maybe not making it, and maybe not keeping all your cargo. I love that, actually.
And now that you mentioned that, something that I just remembered is have you ever played Dwarf Fortress? Or no?
I've not played Dwarf Fortress yet. No.
Okay.
I want to.
Okay. So to spoil one little thing about it, there are biomes in the game, obviously. You can settle in like field, mountain, shit.
Yeah.
There is a haunted biome.
Ooh.
And fucking nothing dies forever in a haunted biome.
Of course.
And I think this was in a Seth video. Yeah, I think it was in a Seth video. And he settled in a haunted biome, and his fortress was then wiped out by reanimated shellfish shells. Because they were fishing and eating them.
Yeah.
And so they would eat the shellfish, and then their shells would come back.
That's awesome.
So you'd have sections of the world like that, where it's, like coated in like necro mist or whatever, and whatever dies there comes back.
I love that.
And it's like stays in that area because it's only animated by that mist.
Yeah.
And maybe, if you go into that area, like sometimes the mist coalesces into like necro gems or whatever, and they're super valuable.
Yeah.
So that's an incentive to go in there.
Yeah.
So you have this place where nothing dies. Or stays dead, I should say.
Yes, exactly.
It's very funny.
Yeah, I love that.
These pickers that come by after the battle, looters and pickers that come by afterwards. In Dungeons & Dragons, it attracts carrion eaters and other eaters of the dead, ghouls and things like that. And what if in the wake of a massive war with all these unburied bodies or mass graves or something like that, all of the death and concentrated dying and negative energy cause undead to spontaneously rise, and now the players have to deal with spontaneous pockets of undead rising up, and it could quickly get out of control because instead of one massive army of the dead marching south, it's a lot of little fires of undead that keep springing
that you're completely surrounded by.
And if the realm has already been weakened by pervasive war and death and things like that, which usually comes with disease and famine and all those other fun things, that's how you do it. So I find Zombie Horde is a good complication, not necessarily the centerpiece of a campaign, but something that arises as a consequence of some other kind of calamity.
I remember you did that in our one of our 4th edition campaigns.
Yes, yeah.
This was a big problem with the undead, but they weren't the problem. The people drumming and controlling them were
the real problem, right?
So it became a thing about avoiding the zombies altogether because there were just too many.
Yeah,
like they were literally everywhere.
Right?
And
that's cool.
A bunch of 3rd or 4th level characters aren't going to take on an entire horde. But that one guy drumming over there,
the one guy who's
that looks like he's controlling them.
Yeah,
now becomes an exercise in getting to him.
Right.
And around I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Another one.
Where we go?
The Dark Lord.
The Dark Lord. Yes, the Dark Lord, the evil, big bad evil guy who rules from the Dark Tower and does. So why does this work in Middle-earth? It works in Middle-earth because Sauron is a part of the mythology and the creation of everything, omnipresent across thousands of years, and is the enemy. Yeah. Right. Very often in Dungeons & Dragons, that's less the case, and the Dark Lord type character is often there just for the campaign. They're not embedded into the world and meshed in it. Like
they're more trying to become a Dark Lord.
So yeah, I feel like what you would want to do. Oh my God, 4th mention. Yes. Yes. But what I would feel like you would want to do is make it so that if you want to have a Dark Lord that is omnipresent, or not omnipresent, but that is always present, then you have to set up something like a different continent that this person rules. So that they have their own kingdom, basically.
Yes.
Right? Or empire.
They've
of some
already
sort.
won somewhere.
Yes. So that you can then have this place that you could venture to if you want to, but it is their territory, so that's probably not a good idea. But they are sending, their war parties and stuff that are full of these evil creatures and the undead and whatever the fuck you want to then, be a problem for the realm that you're a part of. Like, yeah, you have all your, bandits and shit, but sometimes the Dark Lord comes, to wreak havoc and try to continue to slowly destroy the kingdom. So that's the way that I would want to set them up, so that they just have a place to fall back to, I guess. Because why wouldn't they at that point? If they are this powerful presence, they should have some sort of place that is a fortress of their own, like Sauron in Middle-earth, right? We don't fucking go in there, dude. It's bad. Hundreds of thousands of orcs and a big fucking mountain of fire and inhospitable
One
lands.
doesn't simply walk in there.
Indeed. So yeah, just kind of making that on a grander scale so that it makes it more it makes more sense as to why you wouldn't have like the whole kingdom go after the guy. I don't know. Am I hearing somebody fucking doing fireworks now? What the fuck?
That's weird.
That's weird.
It's a little bit early for 4th of July.
A little bit early. It's fucking week away. Oh my god. Anyway. Unfortunately, my Dark Lords are inspired by Nakayama from Borderlands 2 DLC, the guy whose boss fight is him falling down the stairs during his monologue killing himself. Hell yeah. There you go. When I think Dark Lord, I think of the Great Lord Ainz from Overlord. There you go.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you just need to balance it right, I guess, like in a world sense. Because how is this person still like able to be very powerful but checked enough, So
Dark Lord, it's sort of a story that they've made to present, and now everybody's afraid of this.
Sorry, it was skipping for me. I'm gonna pull it back just a little bit.
Become a Dark Lord. You can avoid that, I think, by having the Dark Lord be either a myth or a rumor, something that a cabal of equally nefarious but maybe less mystical adversaries have concocted, sort of a story that they've made to present, and now everybody's afraid of this Dark Lord, but it's really just a figment of fiction.
You could make it, and maybe he'll make this a thing, but you could make it so that the Dark Lord is a person of myth who is going to be resurrected, a la, a Dracula, a Sauron. Well, not Sauron, because he doesn't get resurrected usually. He wants to be, but actually that is like kind of the point of him getting the ring back. So a la Sauron, or a Dracula from the games like all of the Metroidvania, Castlevania games, and Castlevania 2, I believe, as well. That's Simon's Quest. He's getting resurrected in that one too. So I guess from the beginning,
Isn't he getting resurrected in all of them?
most of them, yes. Yeah, the first one is like the one of the only ones where he's just kind of there.
Yeah, right.
So making it so that it is that thing that it needs to be stopped, I guess. Otherwise he can bring another great, darkness to the land again, and all of this kind of stuff that, oh god, in the old days they've wrote stories of the evil that he did, so that you can have like cultists and people that are just trying to do general evil in his name and all that kind of stuff for when he comes again, so that they can be rewarded and all this kind of stuff. Deify him a little bit, make it so that it's something that is just, it's always a pressure on the world because of the idea of him, and the the ability for him to come back in some way. And like there could be multiple things that you can fall back to of things that people think will bring him back. So they're like, oh, we gotta harvest like 30 million people. Whoa! You know, or oh, we gotta take this sacred artifact that he carried back in the day to this place and, you know, do some dark ritual with it. And you know, some of them are probably not actually going to work, and some of them might work, and it's like, but you got to stop them all.
Maybe he had a ring, and you got to bring it to a big place.
Yeah! Whoa!
That'd be crazy.
That would be I don't know about that.
Yeah. That seems a little far-fetched.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, just do something like that.
I feel like Frodo should have probably just tried to drop the ring down the bridge of Khazad Dûm.
Well, then it would just be there.
I mean, nobody can get it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody, like one of the nameless things could probably get it.
Yeah,
I don't know what
exactly.
they're going to do with it.
I guess if the Balrog didn't die, it could have gotten
Yeah.
it, because the Balrogs were under the command
It's true, yes.
of Melkor.
Melkor
yeah.
and the other one that fucking I don't remember.
He's got like 3 different names, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We need a Dark Lord who is a bard that commands his evil army with heavy metal concerts. Yes.
That would be fucking
Absolutely,
sweet, actually.
yes. Let's do this. One does not simply rock into Mordor. Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Perpetuated by something else, you could lean into it and say, yeah, this is a Dark Lord, and the kingdom that this Dark Lord rules,
Oh, there you go.
this realm that it governs, is a nasty, horrific place.
You said the thing that I said.
People there are oppressed, and it's not a pleasant place to be, but you need to take that seriously. How do they deal with the neighbors that they live with? What do they do for trade, for food? It still has to be a functioning society in some way. Otherwise, there would be no power base that this Dark Lord could draw. No one there to feed its armies. No one there to to pay the taxes that it's extracting from the populace.
Also, the Dark Lord at some point needs to have experienced a defeat in the past, and they're just lying in wait.
Lying in wait.
Same with Sauron. Voldemort.
Voldemort's
From
another
the
good
Harry
one.
Potter series. You know, he was this thing. He got defeated.
He was the thing.
Don't worry, he's gone.
Yeah. Or even the Emperor and Darth Vader from Star Wars.
Vader.
You know, they have weaknesses. You know, maybe it's weaknesses like Darth Vader has weaknesses, which is like, you know, the weakness is the emotional attachment to the people who stand against him. There's a magical weakness or something like the Horcrux that the party needs to exploit and find in order to overcome the Dark Lord. But I think like having that one massive, brooding, kind of dark, evil figure that's irredeemably evil or wicked or something, like maybe they're not. Maybe, and the best villains don't see themselves as villains and see what they do.
Now you can, the fucking... It's just now constantly making me light up in Discord. This fucking... fireworks shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're not actually lighting up for me.
Okay, good. Okay, never mind though.
Yeah.
All right. As long as you're not hearing it, then they certainly aren't hearing it. That's good.
Yeah.
Do as a type of good.
Yes.
And so maybe it's entirely possible that the rumors coming out of the Dark Kingdom are of a horribly oppressive place where everything is terrible and horrible. But when you visit, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And there is a reason for several of the things that are happening. Maybe
Dr. Doom from your classic comics, who is a good leader and cares about his people, but he's also kind of an asshole.
Yeah. Another one that you could totally do, I don't know how you would handle supply lines or anything like that, but Archaon the Everchosen is a perfect little Dark Lord, and he is chosen by some evil gods, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe the evil gods would be like, hey, you're going to be our avatar on this plane. We're going to make sure that your fields can produce shit or whatever. Or maybe they'll like send animals, or like I don't really know how they would do it. Maybe they have cattle there, but they make them like disgustingly fecund, and they're able to produce like way more food than they should ever be able to, and they regenerate and shit. maybe you have like 10 cows and they just regenerate and they're like bloated and horrible,
Yeah,
but their
yeah.
meat is still edible.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, you could do something like that for sure.
Yeah, make them nice and scary.
Make them nice and
like,
gross.
yeah. And maybe it's the same thing with crops. Maybe maybe their fields are so fucked that they can only grow like 10 pumpkins and maybe like 100 potatoes, but they're mutated and regenerating or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
But it would be cool.
Make
It'd
it
be very
weird.
thematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, make them weird. And
Make
so
'em
that
weird.
way it's like, how the hell are they surviving? What are they eating up there? It's all fucked. Well, that's the mystery, isn't it? We don't know, but they're well fed.
Yeah.
There's no animals up there. The soil is fucked. We don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
So you could have this weird like horror show once the characters make their way up to the Chaos Wastes.
Yeah, totally.
Everything's all fucking mutated. There's not many trees for like arrows and shit, but they're regrowing when you like shave off wood and then you whittle that into arrows.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty neat.
It would be really cool. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that way you actually have a reason for why the Dark Lord arose to begin with.
Yeah.
Maybe there were always like maybe in this case it could be similar to like Ganondorf from Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like, I looked south and I saw the plenty that you had, and I saw what I didn't have, and I was fucking jealous. And so I prayed and prayed and prayed, and the only ones that answered were them.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they've given us what we need to survive, but you know what? I have every right to live in a nice place as you do, so I'm taking it.
Exactly.
There you go.
My divine right.
Yes.
What is
my
it?
divine right to not having a shitty life.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And it can be just as simple as that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, I mean, if you live in the fucking Chaos Waste, who knows what else lives up there, but I can guarantee you they're not having fun either.
Yeah,
and so, maybe he traveled around and, like, found, like, the ogres and the trolls and the giants and, like, hey, you're starving. We've got food that just comes back. Join me. You'll get food forever, and you'll fight alongside me and my people, and we'll take the Southlands.
Yeah. Totally.
There you go.
Simple as.
And he can be basically like a dark paladin.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be very cool, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's just Warhammer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, we steal. We steal.
Yes. We steal.
Repurpose.
Yes. Recycle.
Indeed.
Adapt, improvise, overcome.
Yes. I love it. Sadly,
Archaon's a little piece of fucking shit, though. I hate him.
yeah. Sadly, if there was a musical Dark Lord, they would just get Jack Black to play him every time. That's true.
Yeah.
And he would just be Jack Black again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Because, yeah.
That is what he is.
Jack Black is funny, but God, is he one note.
He is good in some things, but a lot of the time, in a lot of things, he is just himself.
Yep.
And you go, okay.
That's all he's got.
Which, again, it works for some characters and some performances, for sure. But
yes, absolutely.
Oh,
but when that's the only character you can play, it starts becoming a little, samey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One note. Hey, good music. The musical Dark Lord should be Ozzy Osbourne. Actually, if you remember that video game that Jack Black was the main character in,
Brutal Legend.
Yep. He was the main character.
I hate that I remember that off the top of my head.
Ozzy Osbourne was in that. I don't believe. Maybe he was the bad. I don't remember if he was the bad guy or if he was one of your allies. But it was a weird game. But yeah, we pay the iron price.
You know what?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, hang on. I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt this. Where the fuck is it? There is a video that's basically like a dramatic reading from one of the Age of Sigmar books.
Oh, okay.
And it's Nagash talking about shit.
Oh, yeah, fair.
He has an incredible voice. Let me see here. Nagash, reading.
He was a good guy in that
audio.
game, I think. Okay.
Let me see here. What was it? What the fuck was it? Damn it, I can't find it. No! It was so good! All right, so keep going. I'll look.
Maybe there's a greater threat that kingdom is fighting off, and so that it has to be a little harsher, has to be a little bit more brutal. Or maybe they look at it and say, like, no, well, guess what? I don't see myself as a wicked person. I see myself as the lawful ruler of this land. These are things that are mine by right, and I have an obligation to the subjects of my land that I take care of them, and in return, they give back the fruits of their labor, kind of thing. And making the villain more three-dimensional and its motivations a bit more murky can really subvert that cliche.
Well, yeah, I mean, hell, you could wrap them all up together, and the party gets over there to take on a Dark Lord, but you find out that he's just trying to protect his kingdom from an invading zombie army that is being controlled by the dragon that stole his wife and is hiding her away in a tower.
Oh my god,
look,
cut by a lizard.
The thing that we the thing that we did of taking a bunch of cliches and putting them all together. There you go. Hey.
Yeah. Yes. So, just really quickly, this, the video that I sent, it's called for people who are interested, specifically for giving their villain a good voice. It's called The Monologue of Nagash. And it's basically just a few excerpts from a series of audiobooks or audio dramas, whatever, from Black Library.
Ooh.
And it's all Nagash. This is like official shit.
Yeah.
It's Nagash talking about the events that led up to the most recent bit of like Age of Sigmar, and just Age of Sigmar as a whole, because he directly is talking about Sigmar stealing the souls of champions to make the Stormcast Eternals. The guy's name that does it is Toby Longworth.
Okay.
And he also played Horus Lupercal in the Horus Heresy books.
Oh, I've heard his voice. Okay, yeah. He's got a good voice.
He has a fantastic voice.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend it if you want to try to affect his voice for like a commanding, like, but regal sounding voice. Holy hell, it's good. Specifically in the Monologue of Nagash. I've never heard his Horus Lupercal stuff though.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. But I imagine it's just as good.
Yeah, he's got a good voice. Let's see. Wiki says Ozzy's character in Brutal Legend was the Guardian of Metal, and he was a supporting character, shopkeeper, basically. Gotcha. Okay.
All of that while starting in a tavern.
And you learn all that while in a tavern.
From a mysterious wizard.
From a mysterious
wizard. And the mysterious wizard is another great cliche.
The idea of the wizard who has all powerful, but it's just like whatever that comic is of the wizard, like, hand me that book. But the book, it's just right there.
Give me the book.
Just give me the book. Because that's kind of what it's like.
Right.
But they have better shit to do.
So why is that wizard running around all mysterious, like seeking aid from first level characters to go do stuff? Well, there's a variety of reasons. Maybe it's busy. Maybe it's not the real wizard and it's like a projected image or something like that. The real wizard is...
Simulacrum are very useful. You should use Simulacrum a lot.
Yes.
Fucking, I remember when I watched an actual play of a D&D campaign, they got to like what they thought was going to be like the final fight, and they fought this simulacrum of the big bad, and after the simulacrum was defeated, they were then like shown the actual big bad, who was like way more like frenzy looking and like incredibly haggard in a lot of ways, like looked proper crazy because the simulacrum was so regal and like put together and like this air of like confidence and everything. But yeah,
nice.
Once that,
very cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool like subversion, because it was just like oh, and like they had like this this whatever it was that was like this special kind of crystal from this campaign that was like embedded in them, that was giving them more power and stuff, and so
Mhm.
and it was one of the things that was driving them crazy. But that wasn't in the simulacrum at all, so it was just like, oh no, that's why things are happening in
Mhm.
this way. Yeah, simulacrum are great. But for this, the mysterious wizard, I guess, is the cliche this time. Which,
Mhm.
sure, I don't know. Like, people need people to do stuff for them. You know,
Yeah.
I don't. The
Mhm.
cliche is not. It doesn't need much in terms of like you just use it for whatever. Really,
Yeah.
powerful people need other people to do things for them because they have other things to do that are more important, as they
Yeah.
said.
Or they just don't want to. Or they just don't want to fucking do
Or
it.
they just don't want to fucking do it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
Simple
really.
as, indeed.
Yeah.
Um,
I.
it's not a bad cliche. It's not one that I see that anybody goes, "Oh, this is a cliche." You know?
Yeah, no, like that would be like going up to a quest giver in a game and like, wow, this is so cliched. Someone's asking me to do something.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
be fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it's coming from.
I guess the only thing that I could see is like the going like, "Oh, why don't you do it yourself?" You know, that's the part
Yeah.
that's the cliche, I guess.
Yeah, but then you just come. You can either have a well thought out reason, or you can lean into it and just be like, "Why don't I do it? I don't fucking want to do it. That's
Yeah.
why I'm paying you."
Sure. Yeah.
It could just be as simple as that, and then your players may get a little bit of a chuckle out of that. It's like, well, you want a fucking job, and do you want to get paid for it or not?
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
Mhm.
I'll just look for somebody else if you don't want it. No, we'll take it. It's like, yeah, that's what I fucking thought.
Mage Hand does exist for a reason. That's true. Give me that book.
Yes. Yeah. My thoughts went elsewhere, but you know.
Dealing with shit.
Do you have to actively control a mage hand?
Yes, you do.
Damn it. Okay, so
Yep.
you can't like just have it jerk you off while you're doing other things.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's what Unseen Servant is
There
for.
you
I'm
go.
sorry.
You got there.
Yeah, that's
the joke.
So yeah, that's the joke. Is it I'm not gonna go down that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the wizard is just powerful by reputation and not necessarily by actual deed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways that you can subvert it. This is one of those cliches that I don't like to use that much, just because that kind of quest giver, here's the character, here's the plot hook, I'm going to shove it off on the PCs, is not something I usually like to do.
That's
I
fair.
usually like to include powerful NPCs that have some significant weakness that only the party can help shore up.
Sure.
When you find yourself either as a DM or a player saying like, the character I've got or the idea I've got for a scenario or an adventure or something, man, it's kind of cliched. I find that it's best to go back to the source. What is the origin of the cliche that you're using or that you may have accidentally fallen into, and examine that? Because I find very often when you go back to the source where these cliches originate, you find something fresh and new and interesting.
Sure.
Something that's multifaceted and with depth, that as it's been copied over and over and over and over again ad nauseum, that it's lost that. So an example I'm thinking of is Conan.
Yeah.
Right? Like Conan, for a lot of people, less so maybe than in the past, is a dumb barbarian who has a great sword and a fur loincloth, and he grunts and
He punches camels.
and hates magic and is just kind of a big dumb bully, But reading the original Conan stories, he's much different, and his
I can imagine so. I can imagine so for sure. Usually these things do, because of adaptation and everything, they take whatever they want from the characters and they go, oh, this is the character that I want to do, though, which is perfectly fair, perfectly valid to do when you're making an adaptation. Nothing wrong with that. It's just, yeah, absolutely. Like it's the same thing with like Grimm's fairy tales, right? Those fairy tales have been reinterpreted to be more clean and shit later down the line and all of this, and then the original like stories of a bunch of different folklore were way more crazy than things can be sometimes shown in a lot of different media. It's always nice to, when you go and find the original thing, to go, oh, and then take whatever you want from it. And then it's just, it's just how any adaptation is going to work. It's the same thing with these cliches that we have now. We've taken them in our examples and just gone, oh, well, maybe it can go this way instead, or oh, maybe we can go with like it being like this instead, you know. It's just how it works. I don't know.
Mhm.
Savage upbringing, born on a battlefield, raised in the hills of Samaria, and that upbringing that he has imbues him with a savagery that civilized men lack. And yet he travels through the civilized lands, getting into scraps and adventures and thefts and heists, and he's a pirate captain one story, and he's in a mercenary company the next, and now he's off here fighting Picts and other barbarians, and then the next minute he's fighting Stygian cultists, and those stories are evocative and feral and primal, and you see Conan in a variety of different ways. And if the Conan you're thinking of is lumbering towards you, muscles bulging with a giant sword, then the real Conan is lurking in the shadows behind you, and you don't see the knife that he's got that you're about to be gutted with.
Right.
So Lord of the Rings is another great one.
Yeah.
It's been copied so often, and the amount of fantasy literature that has grown out of the Middle-earth stories, it's worthwhile to go read the stories. Don't watch the movies. They're great. I like them. They're fun, but they also have a style to them that's a little played out.
Yeah, they're action movies, kind of.
Right.
They're fantasy action movies.
Yeah, like going back and like rewatching Fellowship it's a fun movie, but at the same time it's aged. And yet going back and rereading Fellowship is a different.
In what?
In what way?
I mean, we're not going to get an answer.
No,
but, like,
I know. I'm very confused.
Yeah, what are you? Huh?
Now, I haven't read the actual stories in quite a while, though I do have them over there. And I could, I guess. But there's a lot of stuff, I will say, there's a lot of stuff in those stories that I'm not a big fan of, like Tom Bombadil. Like,
okay.
Bombadil isn't really, he doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry, he just doesn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's stuff like that. The stuff that feels a lot more like fluff, I guess.
I mean, honestly, that's fair. People don't really like filler.
Yeah, exactly. It's just if it had the purpose, because especially since it's a book, if it has a purpose and stuff, you know. And I'm sure it's been a hot minute. So there's probably some sort of purpose in the sense of like world building in a way, but I don't know, man. We don't need that, and that's why the movie doesn't include him. And it was weird that they included him in the Rings of Power show, and there's a lot of stuff with that. It's just
don't worry, you can just ignore that.
Yes, exactly, which is great. So I don't know, but I'm very curious, but we're never gonna figure it out. That's fine.
Yeah.
Different thing entirely, and you spend time with the characters and you see the world building going on.
Right.
Don't skip the songs, read through them. Those are the kinds of moments where if you're
agree.
ready to freshen up a cliche, going back to the source, using that original source as inspiration and forgetting all the derivative stuff that's come after can be a good way of livening up a cliche or giving you a fresh perspective on it.
True.
So that you can then subvert it in a different way than maybe it's been done.
Okay. We have 2 minutes left.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we might have to edit this later or not, but kind of the main hook of Tomb of Annihilation, that's what it is. I mean, everybody kind of knows that there's a magical disease, you can't be raised back. People who were previously raised are being affected and they're sick. Well, guess what? You get implored by a wizard who's sick, who literally can't go adventure.
Can't go do that.
Yeah, normally in any other day, they just go do something about it. But no, they're literally sick and losing hip points every day, and they need someone to go do this thing.
And that's a good way to let the player's expectations sort of propel the action of the story, because then it's like the player should be thinking to themselves.
I'm just distracted by the transition that happened for no reason. Really,
what in the fuck was that about?
I don't understand what we're doing. This just seems like a continuation of the conversation.
Why not just like cut?
Yeah, because okay.
They've done that a couple times.
I thought so. Yeah, I've seen cuts.
Yeah, they have.
So like, okay, okay.
this wizard's so powerful, why do they need us?
Yeah.
Which must mean that they maybe either are not as powerful or there's something else going on. And so those are the kinds of questions that players should be then asking themselves.
Yep.
Why in the world is this NPC acting this way? And the DM, if they're thoughtful, if they've given their NPCs proper motivation.
Yeah, Shin, so I don't know if it's the intended purpose, but Tom Bombadil does give us examples of someone that the ring wouldn't be able to corrupt, makes the point that it preys on your desires and ambitions, but he's already completely content with everything he has. Yes, that is true, but we don't need that. We really just don't need that because it never comes up again.
Yeah, that is fair. I think it could be something from... Well, now, was he in the Hobbit? Was he in the Hobbit?
It has been a hot minute.
Yeah, I don't remember if he was in the Hobbit. It could... Tom Bombadil, he serves that purpose as well, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it also could just be Tolkien wanted to have some kind of just outright fanciful elements to the story, even with the, like, super important quest going on. It could have been an attempt to have like some decompression. Did it come like immediately after a big fight or anything?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember though. He's not in the Hobbit. He's not in the Hobbit. There you go.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know. It just feels like, at least from what I remember, and again, I would have a better opinion of this if I had reread the story. So take what I have to say with a grain of salt. But like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it matters to, like, it's fine on a world building sense, I guess, that can happen, that some people just would not be corrupted by it, but the struggle and everything that happens because of the ring is kind of the main thing that really, like, is important.
Like, that is the story.
That's the story, and like, sure, okay, so then why not find somebody like Bombadil to then just do something with the ring, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Which
now,
he isn't necessarily like going to do it, right? Because
no, he would just refuse.
He's just Tom Bombadil.
I think even Gandalf says that. No, he would just never do
exactly. I feel like that's probably true. But I don't know. It just feels like it kind of undermines things a little bit because it's just like, I
seem to remember him being involved with like the creation myth in some way. Like he's an ancient exempt
being
from the song of creation.
Yeah, it's something. I don't remember.
He's really weird.
He's a weird character.
Yeah, and I think because he just kind of shows up and does nothing, I think that's an issue that I personally have with him, because if you're gonna tell me that the entire world was created by God and his angels singing everything into existence, and then there are some characters and things that are exempt from a song of creation, I want to know more, but you don't really ever dive into it. And I'm like, well, what was the point of making him super interesting if you're not going to tell me anything about him?
Yeah, exactly.
It's also kind of like the nameless things where they were there before the Song of Creation.
Right.
So what the fuck was there before the world was created and why? Can you tell me more? That's super interesting. Nope. You know, and I get it. It's to leave stuff to the reader's imagination, but I kind of want to... If everything else is so well done, I can't imagine that Tolkien would do the nameless things or Bombadil dirty in that way.
I'm sure
I think he would make them super interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something that you could probably find, but I don't know.
Yeah, it might be in like Tolkien's letters.
Yeah, exactly. It might be a letter or something. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
One of the people in Rivendell said he would just lose the ring eventually because of not really caring about it. That's right. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, but you know,
yeah. So then you know what you do?
You have somebody go with
him. Give him the ring. Well, I was gonna say you give it to him, you hog tie him, and then you take him.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, if I don't care for it. There are elements like that I feel that's why they weren't included, and it's like that's for the betterment of the movies at least, and I would say just in general the story, but I don't know.
And flesh them out, they will be able to answer that question. And it's in asking that question, why is this powerful NPC approaching me for aid, that the players can start to piece together clues about the threat that they face. Why in the world, in the great city of Orichala Palatine, would a powerful wizard ask a bunch of lowly 6th level people to help it kill a demon? The answer to that question is, obviously, they cannot do it themselves.
Yeah.
And revealing that information reveals a key weakness for them, and that there's something that the party or the players need to do, need to help with, and it's vital. And maybe the NPCs don't want to reveal that information and reveal their vulnerabilities, but the players can piece together the clues and go, okay, okay, and then they can start. In piecing together those clues, can learn more about the threat that they face, learn more about their allies, and sort of develop an appreciation for the campaign that the DM's trying to run for them.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Do we get another transition to the end?
No, that was it.
We don't even get an ending. What, did they put the ending in the wrong spot?
I don't know. That was very strange.
That's very weird.
What a thing to do.
Oh well.
You know what? It was 7 years ago.
Yeah, YouTube was a whole different animal.
Honestly, it was. Like, it really, really was.
Don't you remember 7 years ago when I put the ending of a video 3 minutes before the ending, and I just didn't talk?
Yeah.
That was the AI clickbait thumbnail of
the day. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Makes people talk about it, you know?
I was on the internet 7 years ago. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Bombadil's significance to Tolkien had a religious aspect that not everyone would be interested in. Fair enough.
Okay.
If that's true, hey, fair enough. I don't know. It's one of those things, you know? It can work for some people. It cannot work for me. Regardless. That is that. Good video. It's just a discussion, basically. And those are usually pretty good when they're had. And I mean, you know, there's a reason why this was a very popular channel for a lot of this discussion years and years ago. So WebDM, even though they don't make content anymore, still a very useful resource for sure. Anyway. Let's move on to the second video. This is a very short video. It's 5 minutes.
Okay. So we'll get an hour out of it. Right?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Because...
Hey, folks.
Here we go. There we are. This is 3 secrets to running cities in D&D from Fumble Around. Now, I like the name. And it's even got a nat 1 as the little thing. There you go.
Very good.
So, yeah, I saw this and I was like, oh, okay, cities are a thing that I don't really, like, I just kind of take for granted a lot of the time. It's just kind of there. You know, I try to keep a lot of, you know, stuff going on in the cities, try to make them feel lived in and stuff, but I would love for there to be ways to make it easier. I would love that. So, we will see these secrets.
It's Eddie G, DM Fumble, and this is Fumbling Around. Today I want to go over 3 secrets that you need to know to make running cities in D&D a breeze. Hey, I like big cities and I cannot lie.
Nice.
Okay, now that that's out of the way. Seriously, I like cities more than dungeons and maybe even more than wilderness adventures. And when I'm talking about cities, I mean large and in charge, not villages or hamlets or whatever else you might have on your list. I enjoy those places too, and while those smaller places have their own special benefits, they also have problems that cities don't. If you really like this video, maybe I'll do one on those smaller settlements.
Cool.
Anyway, let's get into those 3 secrets. My first secret about cities is something that scares away most DMs. Cities are large. Yeah, no kidding. What I mean is that cities are like Gen Con. It's so big you can never see the whole thing. And this is good. This lets you, the DM, justify including anything that you want in your city. You want a map maker? Sure, there's one in your city. Need a cleric of some obscure god? Got you covered. Same thing for potion makers, scribes, tailors, whatever. You can have it all in there for your players. On the flip side, if there's something you don't want to make easily available to your players, it's not there. Maybe they go to that
Yes. um,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you have everything you need in a big city.
Yes, exactly. It's supposed to be kind of a metropolis of some sort, in a way, right? Like
Yeah.
it's definitely not going to have everything. It's definitely going to be like, and what I like to have at least some sort of theming be in my cities, because they are created for a reason, right? They are there to they were made, at least for what I did. Some of them were made because of the gods, and so they're in memory, quote unquote, of them. So they have their temples and stuff that are more prominent, or they have ways that those gods like followed, be the tenets of the city. So like the city of oh, fuck, it's been a hot minute. One of my cities is based off of the god of law. It's a place where you would go, and if you felt a calling to become one of the arbiters of the land, you could go to that city to learn the ways of that god and become like basically a traveling like arbiter of law and such, to then be called upon to settle disputes between powerful people, or city and city, or faction and faction. Like you could be that kind of person. And so the city is very orderly. It's kind of got its own. It's farther away from a lot of the different like more resourceful areas, because it's more about the like learning through the hardship and everything. It's in kind of a desert kind of region, and it was just, it was made in such a way that it would really honor the god. So you know, you have something like that, and then you have, at least for another one I have, like it's more of the god of knowledge. So there's a lot of, the god of knowledge is also like kind of the god of the sky in a way. So there's a lot of things that are built up higher. So like the higher the places of learning are higher up than other places, because they are closer to the sky. And so you have that kind of theming, and then you have a lot of just intellectual people who live throughout this city, and like you can find a lot of enchantment kind of shops and stuff, and you know, magic item kind of crafting, and then you have your wizard guild that's there and everything. Like it's all gonna be in that city. That's the major one, and then the smaller ones that are kind of also dedicated to that will have facets of that, right? That are copied from that original founding city, the major hub. So like that's what I like to do with it. And then it's just like, well, then you have, you know, you'll have more things prominent in one city than the other. Yeah, it's just, it's a good way to do it, for sure. I don't know. This is a secret.
Yeah, right.
Um,
That's a secret, that you can get a lot of what you may need in a city.
Yeah. Oh, and you might not. Cities are large. Looks to Ravnica, the plane that is entirely a city. Yep, there you go. Looks at fucking hive worlds.
Oh,
Right?
please no.
And now I'm hearing fireworks over here. Either that or we're getting bombed. Fireworks from where I am, not over the video. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, it's apparently, I don't know. People are getting caught up already.
Yeah.
That map maker looking for the tomb of Bob. Hey, Bob can have his own tomb. Why can't he?
True.
Anyway, they go looking for that map for the
Fucking Nicolas Cage bought a fucking tomb, so, you know.
Hell yeah.
Why can't
Well, I mean,
Bob?
it's Nick Cage. Of course he
Yeah,
did.
of course he did. Yeah.
tomb of Bob, and they can't find it. The map maker doesn't have it, or it's seriously flawed. But maybe that map maker can lead the party to someone who does have access to that map,
Sure.
leading to a whole new set of encounters and adventures along the way. Lastly, there should be something that sets each city apart from each other.
Wait, there you
For
go.
instance, there might be laws against poisons or martial weapons, Or maybe that city is known for a particular crop, spice, or even a craft.
I will say this does bring up something that I don't really think about too much in terms of laws, right? Each place having its own kind of edicts, so that they can control something in it. Like I never really think about like, oh, you can't have weapons in this city, right? Because it's a simple rule, but it's like once you think about it, it's like, well, why is that the case? And then you would have to build upon the reasoning behind that, right? But it is something that I just kind of make everybody go, oh no, it's the same laws everywhere. You're all right, which isn't great. I feel, at least on my end.
Yeah, if it's a kingdom,
Yeah.
and it's all a kingdom or an empire, you can get away with that.
True.
Because it's all ruled by one dude or a group of dudes.
Yeah, true.
All on the same side. So but yeah, if they're like city states,
Yeah.
or just unrelated, then you will need to think about different laws.
Yeah, I guess for what I have that I did for my world, it was more the factions that have their own codes rather than the city, because each place is kind of its own faction in a way, I guess. So I guess I did to a degree, because like I was saying before with the undead, they will accept any other undead, and one of the things is that undead will not kill undead unless they have seriously done something wrong. Like, but that it's that kind of sacred thing of, well, we're all in this together, and if we kill each other, like, that shit sucks. We're literally losing a member of the family, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Feldcare is an entire netherworld that's all city, and a lot of it is completely abandoned. There you go. Oh yeah, I remember that from the lore. I was AFK. What did I miss? Oh, apparently there's a secret that cities are large.
In that case, those items will be more abundant in that city and cheaper than they will be in.
Oh, this also brings up an idea of like pricing in different places, right? Yeah, that's something that I'm also super bad about.
Yes, same.
Because
you're starting, because it's hard enough to run every other aspect of the game without getting into the real world legitimate economics.
Yeah.
Like, holy hell.
It is
It's also hard. The same thing with like having different currencies.
Yeah. Which is why I don't do that.
Yeah, that's why it's always a joke if I run a game that there's going to be a guy who only takes Electrum.
Exactly.
And he's like the guy you have to talk to because he's like a magic item sales guy.
Yeah,
and you're like, shit, we want magic items, but I don't want to fucking do this with Electrum. Well, too bad, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Because nobody uses. I just think it's funny. Nobody ever uses Electrum. But yeah, like, God, that's so difficult.
I think what I might want to do, just to make it interesting to a degree and easy, is to just pick like one thing and go, it's more expensive in this place. Yeah. Just do one thing. That way you don't have to worry about it too much, and you have a little bit of that variety, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Something that I do know of is the game Traveler. In that game, it's space exploration and right, normal adventures and shit. But in the player's handbook, or maybe the storyteller's handbook, or whatever it is, there are in-depth rules on trading and buying, sourcing, and buying and selling cargo.
Cool.
And there are dice rolls, there are tables on tables on tables on.
Fuck yeah.
When you're looking for it, how much do you find? How much can you, like, how much is he selling it for, and why? When you sell it to someone, how much are they going to buy it for, and why? This planet needs this, and they are really good at making this, so you can grab that here, and it has rules for that. So if you want to do an economy, you might want to look into Traveler's trade system, because you could be able to steal some like tables and modify them slightly.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because obviously, it's space age stuff, so there's like food, textiles, robots,
Right, yes.
spaceship parts. You're gonna have to change that.
Yeah.
But or maybe you could have it be like golems instead of
Yes,
robots.
exactly.
If your world has enough golems to, do like the shit that robots do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, for sure. What if the government forces the prices based off their evaluations? Great opportunity for corruption while giving an explanation why everything costs the same.
Hi, Nintendo.
Yeah.
God.
Here's an even bigger secret. Some cities aren't large. Mine never had a population higher than 2,270, but it's legally considered a city. There you go.
Nice.
As far as I remember, I was looking into numbers not too long ago. But I think you're on the lower end, if not actually kind of outside of the city population limit. Because I think 3,000 is the city population.
Like the bare minimum to actually
Yeah.
officially be considered a city. Like you can't incorporate as a city unless you have this
Yeah,
many
I
people.
think so. Yeah. Because like I was
like that.
building out my town, and then I looked into the numbers and I realized I was actually making a village, and I was like, ah. But everybody colloquially calls it a town, so
Yeah, just call it a town. Who fuck it?
yeah, exactly. Anyway,
Little locations. These little bits can help set your cities apart from each other.
it's a city because it's a county seat.
Oh,
You've
God
got
damn it.
me. You've got
Yeah,
me.
well done. Your
Thank
fucking
you.
loophole.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, we like loopholes.
And make each one unique in your players' minds. Number 2, cities open up more social encounters.
True.
Yep.
When your party's exploring a dungeon, there isn't a lot of opportunity for talky talk, other than trying to get that lowly goblin tribe to turn on their bosses, or maybe paying off some kind of ransom demand. In a city, it's easier for you to build more social encounters if the party's looking to meet the king, duke, or even the head of the Thieves Guild.
Mm-hmm.
How does your party even get that meeting to begin with? Who do they have to talk to? What service might they have to perform? And when it does come down to a fight, since most cities usually have laws against killing people, what are your players going to do? Are they going to subdue? Are they going to kill? Do they hang around and try to explain? Or do they run and hide?
True.
All of these can lead to some fun role-playing encounters and take your stories in new directions, rather than the old kill, loot, move on to the next room mentality of your typical dungeon.
Welcome to the village of town. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, welcome to the town of city.
welcome to the hamlet of town. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
God. That would be really funny to do, but there's no reason why they would do it. Unless you have like a really eccentric town leader who's like, hello, this is my dog. Horse.
Yeah, right, yeah. Then it's like, okay.
Yeah. Right? Like, that's just the reason why it was named that.
Yeah. Welcome to Corneria. Yes, exactly.
Yo.
Uh,
A good Star Fox game again. It's never gonna happen.
No.
I mean, even if I did, they'd charge $100 for it. I wouldn't play
Exactly.
it.
Yep. By the way, the second secret to running cities is that it gives you more social encounters. I just want
because there's
everybody to
people in
know
cities.
this.
Yeah.
And my horse, dog. Yes, exactly.
Damn it. And my son, Cat.
Just what?
And my cat, Frederick.
Yes.
Ugh.
Lastly, if your party does have a specific goal in town, you have plenty of NPCs that can help keep them on track in the form of role-playing encounters, rather than just use DM Fiat to keep them on task. Hey folks, I hope you're enjoying this
Fiat?
video. If you
Yeah.
are, please consider hitting that like and subscribe. It helps.
What an interesting way to transition into this in a weird box that's off center.
Yeah, a little picture-in-picture there.
I know.
Eh.
It is definitely a choice.
It is a choice, but for me, it doesn't really harm anything.
No,
It's just a little weird.
I'm just like, okay.
I guess just to fully separate the subscribe
Yeah.
and like request from the video.
Yeah, I guess so. That's fine. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Helps
But,
feed YouTube and lets you know when new content is available. And now, back to our show. Number 3,
Okay.
do Ex Machina. If you're not familiar,
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, it's Deus, brother.
Yeah, it's
It's
Deus.
Deus. There's no X at the end. Sorry.
Yeah.
Deus Ex Machina is Latin, and it literally means God from the machine. It's a theater
You
term.
got that right.
And it refers to the point, typically in a Greek tragedy, where a god, one of the gods, would literally be raised or lowered from some kind of stage mechanism in order to save the day. In our D&D games, it can be used in basically the same.
Hey, Dave. And my axe, which I named Sword. Yes. Exactly.
And then, see, the best part of that joke would be when they're like talking to him after you've already established the whole backwards naming thing,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden he whips out a completely normal name, and he's like, "What? Yeah, no, it's just
Yeah.
I mean, would you want it to be fucking? Not everything has to be fucking stupid,
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Turns out the mayor with a terrible naming scheme was the thrall to a mind flayer who didn't understand terrestrial naming schemes.
Oh
Yes!
my god!
There
Fuck
you
me, that's
go.
great.
That's great. I love it.
Oh
See, we turned the joke into a good one.
yeah, turn it into
Thank
something.
you,
Fuck.
Draco Kraken.
We keep coming up with good shit that'll never get used.
That's right. Steal that, please.
Yeah. Fucking
same
hell.
way. For example, if your party's starting to lose a fight,
But so, okay.
and before that death spiral kicks in, you can always have the city guard show up, arrest everyone, and sort it out downtown. Similarly, it can be the reason why bad guys take certain actions. In one game I ran, the party were trying to break up a summoning ritual.
So the third secret to running a city is that you can come up with reasoning better for why some things can happen.
Yeah.
Which
I guess you just have more options. Because, well, I mean, you can think of it like this. Like,
Yeah.
let's say they're in a life or death fight out in the wilderness.
Well,
There's
yeah.
not really anybody who can come down and save them without it being a literal Deus Ex Machina.
Yes.
And people will, they'll see that and be like, oh, this is fucking obvious.
Yeah.
But in a city, you do at least have the option of someone having, like, called the guards.
No, absolutely.
No. So I can see it, but this is something that would
understand.
just come naturally from running a city.
I was gonna say
It's not exactly a
yeah,
secret.
The secret. I thought I would get something that would be something that I had never thought of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like you think about a city, and if you're brand new, you go and associate it with a city that you've lived in, and you go,
Yeah.
oh, the police exist.
Yeah, the police exists, the guard exists.
Yeah.
I imagine that everyone who has ever played D&D has at least seen video of Skyrim at some point.
Maybe. I'm not even gonna go that far. It's just literally you've lived. Like we have
Yeah.
laws against killing people.
Yeah.
Like that's as far as you need to go, because it's just like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, so a city is gonna kind of work like a city. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, these secrets work on most situations. Yes, exactly. I feel that too, because it's just like, even with the like being out in the wilderness thing, it's like, well, okay, so yeah, I just don't do that, I guess. Like in the sense of like having something happen that magically saves them unless it has a good reason. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, it's easier in a city, but it just means that I have to
You can do
work
it
harder
anywhere,
when
really.
I'm out in the wilderness, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
If I really want it to happen, I don't know. Or a DM with a poorly designed random name generator. Yes, for the terrible naming schemes, yes.
Yeah.
Ritual, and ended up basically getting TPK'd. But rather than killing them off, the underground cult just wanted to complete their ritual and get out of Dodge before they were found out.
Sure.
After the party was neutralized, they went back to their regularly scheduled evil business. This allowed me to save the party, but with in-game logic rather than some DM hand-waving.
Agreed.
So there you have it.
Okay, fair enough.
3 secrets that I use to make cities in my D&D games more fun and easy to run. See what I did there?
I did.
Let me know
rhymed.
your tips and
Did a
tricks
big
for
rhyme.
using cities in your D&D
God.
games in the comments below. Cheers. Until
Also,
next
I
time.
didn't see it, I heard it.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
All right. We didn't get an hour out of it. What the hell?
It's because there wasn't much to latch onto, because it was
Yeah,
very obvious stuff.
Yeah, it was really obvious.
My secrets are that you have lived before.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, sure. Yeah, just because you're evil, that doesn't mean you want a murder charge. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You get more time if you murder. My goodness. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, you know, what are you gonna do? It's a 5-minute video. It's not like it's bad or anything. It's just weird that it's titled that way, I guess. In the sense that the secrets, Jimmy. What give me the secrets. I don't know what his name was.
What do they mean?
It certainly was a video. Yup.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
At least it wasn't offensive.
Yes, that is honestly the bare minimum.
Yeah, it was not offensive in any way, shape, or form.
And
It
it
just
was-
kind of feels a little bit obvious.
Yeah, it was fine. It's just fine. Anyway, that's it.
Mhm.
Those are the videos.
Yep.
We did it. Oh my god. We got a
did it.
lot out of that first one, I will say.
We did get a lot out
It
of
was
that
like
one.
2 hours that we got out of that one. And this one, I
Yep,
mean, this
and-
one we got like 20 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
it's like 4 times the video length. That works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure last podcast we had a rough one, I think. So this I
Yeah,
don't
no,
even
this
remember.
Yeah, it's fine.
So it's nice to have an easy one.
Yeah, but I will kill Artorias. Yes, exactly. So, well, I guess we'll move on. If you would like, I will give you the option.
Yes.
Then if
I
you
will
would
be
like
leaving.
to leave, you may.
Yes, because I am hungry and I
Mm.
want to write while I'm still awake.
Hell yeah, dude. I feel you.
Yeah. All right. Well, good podcast. And I'll let's see. I'm off Monday. I don't know if you want to do anything then.
We can see. Yeah, we can
Okay.
absolutely see. I'm
Yep,
I mean
off
I'm off
Monday
I'm
and
off
then-
Friday obviously because 4th of July. So
Oh, I am not. But I only work 3 to 7, so maybe we could do something.
okay, yeah,
then.
we might be able to do something later on that day too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Well,
Okay.
everybody take care. Good podcast, and see ya.
See ya. All right. We will move on to comments, everybody. Comments. Comment time, everybody. You love comments, don't you? Because I do. I love comments. All right. So this was a few weeks ago that we had these comments because we missed a week in between. Apologies for that. The days are long, warm, and not warm, hot, and sometimes work gets to be too much. So again, I apologize. But anyway, first up we have Timothy saying on last episode, hello bros, new lore. The party stood on a small island of mud with bullywugs all around them. Leroy was still lightheaded from the overwhelming force of the swamp itself, staggering, trying to stay upright. The party was pushed back to back as the bullywugs moved in. Communication was proven difficult since nobody spoke bullywug. One false move could start conflict, although Woodard would rather fight. After a few minutes of tense silence, a bullywug made the first move, shooting a rock at Cornell's head. The king blocked it with his tail. This act set off Woodard. She charged into the bullywugs. Cornell sighed as the brawl started. The bullywugs seemed to focus their attention on Cornell, quickly figuring out he was the leader of the group. A magic using bullywug fired a bolt of blue light at Leroy. He let his unsteady legs save him by falling out of the way. Ferretti is the one who should apologize for the heat. That's true. Thank you for apologizing. And he fired back from his hands and knees with an ice dagger's spell, but missed. Star Ruby ran over to protect Leroy after seeing him fall to the ground, standing with Leroy between his legs, fighting back bullywugs from all sides. When Leroy looked over at Cornell, he was struggling to hold back 40 attackers. Jeez. He was visibly trying not to kill them, which surprised Leroy a bit. Usually the dragon went right to chopping heads off in battle. Woodard, on the other hand, was attacking to kill. Cornell was slowly getting pushed to the water's edge. Just then, a loud snap was heard, and a large stone came flying through the trees, right at Cornell. He was just barely able to dodge it. Woodard screamed out, "They have siege weapons! We might need to fall back," before Cornell could say anything. Oh, before Cornell could say any. Oh, hello.
Hey,
Welcome
sorry. Let me know once you're done with the podcast, and I'd love to watch those music videos with you because they're super fucking good.
back. Okay, yeah, I will.
So just send me a message.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
yeah,
done.
yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
Large stone came flying through the trees right at Cornell. He was barely able to dodge it. Woodard screamed out, "They have siege weapons!" Oh, I already read this. Sorry. Before Cornell could say anything, another snap was heard, tossing a second stone. Cornell dodged it once again, but he slipped because of it. Falling into the water, the bullywugs pounced on him, trying to drag him under, as the dragon flailed wildly. Woodard ran, trying to help her king, but before she could get there, Cornell was pulled below the water. Massive amounts of bubbles marking where he was. The fight continued for a few minutes. Suddenly, flashing lights could be seen under the water. Beams of energy flying out. Burned bullywug bodies started floating up. Cornell popped out of the water, gasping for air. "Fall back now! I will cover you," Cornell yelled. The king crawled back onto the island. He was no longer holding back, slashing and biting everything. Bullywug blood covered his body. His pink scales now stained green. Cornell's hand reached out. He chanted a spell. A wall of flame shot up where he pointed, frying 100 bullywugs and busting a hole to escape through. "Go, go, go," Cornell said. Star Ruby picked up Leroy as he followed Woodard's lead through the opening. Cornell started to follow as well, but he heard chatting from behind. A group of bullywug magic users fired a blast of white energy at the fleeing party members. Cornell jumped in the way, blocking the beam with his axe. Leroy looked back to see Cornell locked in place, the magic blast bearing down on him. He tried casting a spell to help, but he couldn't get a good shot. "My king, hurry," Woodard said. "Keep going, I will be fine," Cornell said. Leroy could see the stress on Woodard's face as she kept the party moving. As they ran, the bullywugs did not chase them, keeping their focus on Cornell. The party lost sight of the pink dragon through the green fog. Cornell was now alone. He finally managed to direct the beam to the ground, stopping the spell with a big explosion. But the dragon's tank was almost empty. The last thing he wanted was to be captured, and the opening in the wall of bullywugs was now closed. Cornell saw only one way out. He flew up as high as the swamp growth would allow and fled. He went as far as he could, but his wings gave out, grounding him once more. Cornell crawled into the trunk of a tree to hide and passed out. That's all I got. Have a nice day. Thank you. And thank you for the comment, of course. All right. Next up, we have Unit Rico on the last episode saying, "Yeah, seeing models come together is such a great motivator. One of my favorite parts of going to tournaments is everyone fawning over each other's armies. It's the best. Don't give the Eldar too much love, though. They might accidentally spawn another Chaos God. True. Also, in fairness, the Aspect Warriors got a great refresh relatively recently. Craft Worlds are probably the one Eldar subfaction that's been served all right. Dark Eldar and Harlequins, though? Hell, Yanari had their entire plotline scrubbed. Lamau. True. I also wonder if the creative spark is going to work the other way around. I'm finally going to try out Fallout Wasteland Warfare with a friend soon, with unpainted minis, sadly. Middle-earth and Old World still come first. And maybe I'll finally get off my lazy ass and ask people to play the TTRPG again. Hey, yeah, fair enough. That is absolutely fair. Yeah, I still have yet to get my old desk in here and set it up again for painting and all that. So I'm hoping that I can do that at some point. It's been hot, man. It's been fucking hot. Anyway, then we have Jim7644. This is in terms of Shadowrun. The Shadowrun episode that we did of 6E. that was all about some problems that somebody had with Shadowrun 6e. It's been a hot minute, so apologies if I don't remember everything, because this is literally 100 episodes ago. So, but I'll try to, comment where I can. A quick note on the multiple attacks bit. There's multiple versions of multi-attack in Shadowrun. That's what y'all brought up in that bit, splitting dice pools into multiple attacks for a single action. Then there's methods of gaining extra actions. In older editions, the initiative pass, it was a system where if you have a high initiative, you would get more actions that turn or multiple turns per round, excuse me. I think would be a better way to think about it. Basically, after everyone takes their turn for the round, you would subtract 10 from everyone's initiative, and if anyone still has initiative remaining, they would get another full turn. Oh, interesting. Hypothetically, a combat-focused character could get about 3 or 4 attacks a combat round with their maximum dice pool, maybe 5 if they're very kitted out. 6th edition revised this system so that certain spells, pieces of cyberware, or other buffs give you more initiative dice, which give you more minor actions. You can trade 4 minor actions for a single major action, which could hypothetically give you 2 attacks per turn. There's also an edge action that grants a bonus major action. Those extra actions are traditionally what set apart a street samurai or adept from other archetypes, who typically don't exactly have difficulty getting a comparable amount of attack dice. I'm not a 6e hater, I have issues, but I haven't had enough experience with it to really judge for certain what I think of it yet. But so far, with what I have done, it really kind of feels like it incentivizes the mono build even more than older editions, and that's always been pretty bad. Fair enough. You basically have to have wired reflexes to minimum with WR 3 or 4 wired reflexes, ideally, so you can actually move and dodge shit to really get a noticeable edge in combat or over any other kind of character type. Gotcha. Okay. It has been a moment, so a hot minute since I've even thought about Shadowrun 6e. Honestly, at this point, we've basically just kind of figured that if we're gonna play a what the fuck is the cyber shit called? I can't remember. What am I? If we're gonna play something a cyberpunk setting, it would be cyberpunk. Because Boo isn't a fan of the magic aspect of Shadowrun. So cyberpunk is the way that we would probably go. But I would really like to play Shadowrun at some point just to see how it is, because we played 3rd without magic being a part of it at all. And we did it for like 2 or 3 sessions. It wasn't very long, so I don't have much of experience with it. And at the time and now still, I don't have any experience with 6e, so we were just kind of going off of basically what the guy was saying in the video, which sounded pretty unreasonable a lot of the time. But I appreciate and thank you for the clarifications of a lot of this stuff. If it is just making it so that you have to build stuff like literally in a certain way for that's gone now. Literally in a certain way for things to there we go. In a certain way for things to actually work out. For you to actually like be effective and stuff. That sucks. That's unfortunate. But I don't know. I would really have to play the game and then think about it, and then look at older editions and stuff just to see, to be certain. But anyway, yeah, so that's comments. Thank you for the comments. Appreciate you. Continue comments. I like comments. That's it. We've done it. So we're going to move on to shilling out and shouting out things, which means, whoa, we have a website. We have a website that has all of the stuff that you can do to support us that I'm going to be talking about. Or you can look in the description of these videos / the audio versions to find everything that I'm talking about. Or show notes if you want to for something like the audio podcast. Anyway, over here, you can see that we have a Patreon that you can go and check out. Whoa! It's right here, patreon.com/tabletalkcrew. It's in the description. And you can join us and be one of these lovely, 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 why is this over here? Lovely people who supports us financially. You don't have to, of course, if you don't want to. You also can do so through the Tabletalk Crew Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/tabletalkcrew. Same exact things of benefits that you would get. What? Oh. Same benefits that you would get becoming a member through that, becoming a table flipper. You would be on a separate list that I would also read, and get access to the Discord section that is for table flippers, as well as the editing streams when they happen and everything, and the future ideas for patrons and table flippers in general. So, a big thank you goes out to Draco Kraken, Rick aka Rico, and Steely for being in tier 4. Thank you very much for becoming tier 4 and giving us the money for so fucking long. We really appreciate it. You're awesome. Then, of course, a thank you goes out to Crimson Rose and Tier 2. Appreciate you. Thank you for your contributions for so many years as well. And then, of course, a thank you goes out to our Tier 1 contributors. Yeah, little as $1 a month. You can be in Tier 1 and get all the same benefits as any of the other tiers. It's up to you, of course. You don't have to if you don't want to. Continuing on, we have a fourth wall shop that you can go and get our dice, get these lovely coasters of each of the crew, the mug, the mouse pad, and soon to be other things once they are ordered and come in. So please check this out if you wish to. $15 for the dice, $10 for coasters, for each coaster, like $14 for a mug, $14 for the mouse pad. Up to you if you want them. They're there. So please, if you wish, right? Then, of course, you can donate to us directly through PayPal if you wish. You can also utilize our link in the description, or clicking here, to go to Humble Bundle. Whoa-wee-wah. Look at this Humble Bundle. Using that link and getting whatever through it, you'll get us a little kickback. Right now, looks like Numenaria has an RPG collection. There you go. That's a ttrpg thing. Also, no, that's it for the main page. There's probably something else in the books. Let's see. You and me. Let's go. There's witchcraft. Neat. Oh, fucking Disney comics that were gargoyles. Whoa. I see Lilo and Stitch as well, but gargoyles is the thing that makes me interested. Serial killers? Oh. Lot of different things that you can get through the book bundle. Obviously, you've got the games bundle, the software bundles, all that kind of stuff, if you want to go and look through and get stuff, as well as, of course, getting stuff in the store and getting the choice bundle, which right now, this is going to change soon, soon as the next month comes up, but Bolt Gun is in it, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered, these kinds of things. Like, the Dungeons of Hinterberg, I actually was playing that not too long ago. It's sick. I actually really like this game. And, Chia, I want to say, or Chaya, I can't remember. This is a very interesting Wind Waker-esque game that is based off of New Cambodia, I think it is. Really, really cool stuff in that. I would super recommend that at this point. I played it a little bit too. Obviously, Bolt Gun is good, and I hear good things about Soul Reaver. I've not played Nobody Wants to Die yet, or Scare Ritual. Haven Dock is And Biped is something that I haven't played either. So, some good stuff. And this even, well, this is going to go away soon. So, the next thing will be cool too, probably. We'll see. I don't know what's going to be in the next choice bundle. But anyway, link in the description. Gives us a kickback if you wish to go and do that. Last but not least, of course, we also are affiliated with drive-through sites. Drive-through RPG is the one that I will be showing off because drive-through RPG is RPG stuff. It kind of goes with the channel. But obviously, the link in our description, if you do anything with it in 15 days, we get a kickback. And you can buy a bunch of user-created stuff, as well as some of the official things like Daggerheart, like Warhammer, the Old World, like other things, like I think Traveler's on there too. Like any TTRPG that you can imagine, basically, is on here. There's also the cards, comics, and fictions links that you can get from here, as well as on the website, on our website. So if you want any of that kind of stuff, you can also go through there. But yeah, within 15 days of clicking that link. So if you want to buy anything through that, go for it. Otherwise, don't, I guess. I don't know. And of course, last but not least at all, the free ways to support us: by subscribing, by liking the videos, by commenting on them, by coming to the streams, coming and hanging out, chatting, joining our lovely community, go into the Discord if you want. We barely talk. It's unfortunate, but we got good memes. I'm loving the memes every time they come up. Man, oh man, they're great. So that's probably the most I was gonna say hopping channel. Jesus Christ. What am I from, like, the 50s? Where am I? It's probably the most active channel, the memes channel, and we love them. We love those memes so much. So, but regardless, I mean, when people talk, we talk, you know, when we have things to say. So, yeah, that's it. It seems like Shin, yeah, you guys are getting a lot of fireworks over there, huh? Getty's guide. Oh no. It wasn't fireworks if we don't see you next week. If that's the case, then there's going to be a big problem, probably in a grander scale. But anyway, thank you all for joining us for the evening. We really, really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys continue to enjoy, and we'll see you next week. Probably, hopefully, as long as nothing happens, for more of the show. And hopefully this coming week we'll have a few more digital distraction streams, so more games and stuff, now that things have finally kind of slowed down for me at work and I can get home and do stuff. Though I do have to edit real bad more for Vampire because I don't have anything ready for the 1st. Which is, I want to say, yeah, it's Tuesday. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow, hopefully, and Monday if I don't get it done tomorrow. So that'll be a thing. Apologies that I'm very bad at this. But hey, I'm doing my best with the time that I'm given and the energy that I have. So, yeah, thanks a bunch. We'll see ya next week. Bye-bye. Goodbye.